Imagine a hero shooter where the hero never showed. Imagine a game with a player base that just refused to grow. A 5v5 hero shooter with gameplay that's just okay, and characters that remind me of Tupperware and white bread. No, I'm not talking about Overwatch. Please stop bringing up Overwatch. This game is not Overwatch. It's actually something else. Imagine a game with a story that no one watches. A game that costs $40 that Sony totally botches. It has all my favorite characters, like Lemmy, Dawn, and Craig. At least, I think that's what their names are. I never bothered to check. Concord like the grave, your legacy is safe as a game that no one played, and a price that no one paid. Boopa-doop-ba, dee-ba-doop-da, scoop-a-boop-ba, beep-beep-beep-beep-beep, phlegm. Concord was about as good as accidentally peeing on your own leg. Concord, we're here to lay you to rest. We know you tried your best. You copied so much cool stuff just to turn out lame in the end. I'll never forget my favorite moments, like when Hot Sauce Guy jumped. Remember when he jumped? That was really cool. A rat just ran by on my desk, and even the rat didn't want to play Concord, even though I blessed him with the chance. The $40 he could afford, but the rat just stared on in a trance. Rat, 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 rat. Concord's dead. Rat, 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 rat. Concord's dead. The Costco guys made more money than you. They were just on Jimmy Fallon too. Imagine Lennox being on Jimmy Fallon, because I literally can't. The rat on my desk is eating all my Cheerios and grapes, and also Concord is dead. Concord like the grave, your legacy is safe as a game that no one played, and a price that no one paid. Rat-a-tat-a-beep-a-dap, skim, milk, the rat fleet, doo-da, doo-da. A guy said he really liked it, and then a bunch of rats ate his face. That's the sound he made when Concord passed away. I wish things turned out different, but either way I'm getting paid. Concord's dead, Concord's dead, and boy is my face red. When the game came out, everybody overslept. Concord's dead, Concord's dead. Holy crap, Lois, Concord's dead. When the game out, people played everything else instead.
Live with the consequences.
I'm vibing.
Oh, Sony had a big old plan, state of play to wow the fans. But in 2025 they fell, their showcase didn't go so well. Sony Blue, it's what a shame. Live service games, they're all the same. Marathon Fair Games, Horizon 2, all the flop, what can they do?
I'm vibing.
Marathon's a sci-fi bore, plagiarism caused an
Welcome, everybody. We're back. Rocking and rolling as you do. How's everybody doing? Everybody feeling good? I've got my disinfectant wipes on the desk ready to go. I spilled a lot of coffee on my desk yesterday. Like, a lot. So I have officially, I believe, finished the cleanup, but yeah, it was all over the mouse pad. It was like seeped all the way through. It was bad. It was bad. So crisis averted now. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more on stream, frankly, which is probably foreshadowing for later in the stream, but what are you gonna do? How is everybody? Yeah, yesterday was a good day. We kind of shook things up a little bit. So instead of streaming yesterday, of course, we're streaming today on a Saturday, which is not typical, but there's a couple of reasons. For one, yesterday, we went out to a water park with some of my siblings, which was nice. And we also today have a pretty big event happening, which is the full gameplay reveal of the Dawn Walker game, like footage, gameplay reveal. So, and if you're not familiar with that, we'll do a lead up to it, but this is the game coming from former Witcher 3 devs. It's the vampire open world adventure game. It seems very interesting, very intriguing. So we'll check that out. We'll see the full reveal here in a little bit. But we have some other things to talk about. Freudian slip. Monster Hunter is getting review bombed for various reasons. We'll touch on that. Some pretty impressive work being done for Borderlands. We'll touch on that. I do want to show you this clip because this is probably the most hilarious and awkward thing I've ever seen in my life. Are you ready? This dude lives out my nightmare and accidentally calls the judge honey instead of your honor. Just take this in. Let me pause that so it's not playing in the background. But just take this in. Imagine if you were in his shoes. Just try to not cringe yourself to death.
Separate. Let's go with what happened in the case.
But honey, or oh my God, I'm sorry, Your Honor. That I don't know what to say to that. I apologize.
Okay, go ahead.
The question here is what happened. I'm sorry, I've just been totally thrown by
I
my
can
mistake.
imagine. I can imagine. I'm a little thrown by that also, if I'm being honest.
Your Honor, I don't know what to say. It's just
Okay, well, go ahead. You've only got a minute separate. Let's go with what happened in the case.
But honey, or oh my God,
But honey, oh, that one's tough. That's a tough one to come back from. I'll be real. I mean, what do you say? Just sorry. I have arguments like this with my wife a lot. I'm like, what do you even do? It's pretty bad. Don't call the judge honey. She will not like it. Okay. Just being real with you. Don't do it. What else we got? I can't even fathom what you even say in response to that. Let's see. I'm gonna pull this up too because I want to talk about this. Because I do want to touch on a game that was revealed called Blood Message that looks crazy. So we'll touch on that as well. Because I think I'm officially locking in one of my predictions for the next generation. Officially locking it in. We're doing it. So buckle in for that. But how are all of you guys? You guys have a good last couple of days? I'm live on your day off. Yeah, hell yeah. Turns out they're actually married. Oh, the judge is married to the lawyer. Dude, that would at least kind of explain it, but I'm pretty sure it's just a lawyer that it's talking to a judge in like an actual court case and then accidentally calls her honey. Not great. Really not great. Son's birthday today, 7 today. Happy birthday to Stunseed Son. That's fantastic. Hells yeah. Brandon, thank you for the 2 pee poo poo. Indeed, my friend. I appreciate you. Jail him. Dude, I think they could probably hold you in like contempt of court if they felt like it was intentional and you were like disrespecting the court by saying that. Otherwise, I don't know. Also, what the hell is this thumbnail? What is Emil doing? He's just wearing like a turban thing. I don't even know what you call that. A headdress? Where is that from? Is that from like an actual like picture? I don't think I've ever seen that picture of him before. Consider me intrigued. I don't know. That's weird. I don't really know what to do now. Can I search it if I go like, if I go Google Lens? Yeah, I can. Hold on. I'm searching for it. Enhance. Okay, I don't know when he wore that or what it maybe it's just a really good like Photoshop. I don't know, man. That's I don't know. Okay. It's a deep cut though. That's a deep cut. I do, on the one hand, I feel like Emil, I mean, if you don't know, this is Emil Pagliarulo. He's one of the like, he's the right-hand guy to Todd Howard at BGS. And I think like he's really good at some things. I also think he's responsible for a lot of the poor decisions at BGS. When you listen to the interviews and the stuff that he kind of takes ownership for, it's like, I wouldn't be taking ownership of that choice, but okay. So I don't know, but I do feel bad for the guy that I think, you know, he's kind of become the target of a lot of this, but he also is like one of the only BGS designers that's on social media actively. Todd doesn't have an X account. Todd is not posting to Instagram. And I think Emil actually got rid of his account. I think he's now, yeah, now I think he's only on Blue Sky. And I don't even know if he posts there often. Got kind of bullied off of X, I think. So, oops. Luke made me think it's Friday and I missed work. Lol, good seeing a stream on the weekend. Yeah, sorry. Would love a Todd Howard TikTok. Dude, I think Todd at least understands there is like nothing for him to gain by being on social media. You know, it's the same thing with a lot of these guys, frankly, that are game designers like Randy Pitchford being on social media. I understand like he just likes talking to the audience and the community and stuff. That's fine. But I think for 98% of these like industry people, they take way more heat than they do like praise. And I think that they do a lot more damage to themselves by being on social media. Sometimes it's best just to put the phone down. Like you make games, make the games, don't post on social media, because so often they get themselves into trouble with this stuff. It's like there's not a net benefit typically on social media. Even the times where like somebody does get like pretty good reception on social media, it's pretty short-lived, and then there's still 15 people that are upset about it, you know. Very upset about it verbally. Todd's too busy swimming in cash. Dude, I've never had the pleasure of meeting Todd or seeing him in person and stuff, but I have talked to people and content creators who have, and they say he drives up in his whatever crazy sports car, and he's wearing his really nice Omega watch, and he's a baller. He's a baller. I don't know how much he got from the ZeniMax deal, but I imagine, you know, he did pretty well for himself. I would imagine, you know, except Kojima. Kojima pretty clearly collects Lego sets, and I think that's where most of his money goes. I don't know if you've seen Kojima. I don't know where I'd even find it. Kojima office playing Death Stranding. There's pictures of him in his office, like playing a build of Death Stranding 2, and he's just surrounded by boxes of Legos. You guys remember the picture? We looked at it on stream. Like race car Lego sets. I don't know where I'd even find the picture. I don't know. Well, I mean, there's this. In this, they have a picture, his office full of movies, books, and Lego. So this is a picture of like his office, and you can see he's got a good number of Lego sets up there. But this is way tidier than the picture we saw. The picture we saw, like all along here, were unopened Lego sets, which it's kind of based, honestly. It's kind of based. Kojima's a watch guy too. He has a limited edition Hamilton coming out with Death Stranding theme. Oh, I do remember that. Yeah, the Death Stranding watch. This thing. I'm not doubting it's a nice watch. Like, it very well could be a nice watch. I am not typically a Hamilton fan. They're not my cup of tea, but some people really like them. But yeah, he's got a limited edition Death Stranding 2 Hamilton watch, which is this one. Water resistant 5-bar. Ooh, baby. Swiss made limited edition. Could be a cool collector's item, honestly, but it's also $1,600. Woof. Woof. New lore. Luke doesn't like Hamilton. It's a great musical. Yeah, I mean, it's. I'm sure they're fine. I don't typically like these big chunky watches. I don't like I also like the bars are covering it up. I don't personally like the look of this, and Hamilton in general is kind of more squared off, you know, with a lot of their like fancier designs. It's like the Richard Mille watch that looked like something you get out of a like machine at Walmart. Like, you would not guess. Let me just go back. Like, you would not guess that this watch is being sold for $2.2 million. You know, like, again, I appreciate a lot of the craftsmanship. It's very, very fancy. I get that. Most big athletes are using these watches. You know, Tom Brady's wearing them. I get that. But, like, come on. Like, come on. I don't get it, man. It's because it's a tourbillon. That's why they're so freaking expensive, but still. Richard Mille, I've never connected with. I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. Somebody out there on stream is watching this right now being like, looks amazing. That's what I want. That's my goal in life, is to get one. Cool. Not my thing, personally. Not my thing. I joined to Luke flexing watches he can afford. Yeah, we're rocking like 300-400 YouTube members getting Richard Mille watches. No, we're fine. We make good money. Don't get it twisted. But even if I had $3 million to the point where I could spend it frivolously, like on a watch, I would not be buying Richard Mille. I just don't get it. I just genuinely don't get it. I'd get, like, if I have that kind of money to waste, I would buy like a yacht. That's fun. You can at least like drive a yacht around, you know? You can do that. Buy a plane. You buy a plane, then you can fly places. But I don't get it. Some watches genuinely hold their value, and it's kind of like an actual investment, but I don't get it with the like Richard Mille watches. I just personally don't understand it. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, there's a Borderlands 4 stream today if you want to stream it after Dawn Walker. Yeah, so they're doing Borderlands stuff, and then they're doing like, I forget what they call it, what the name of it is, but there's an event going on today where a bunch of people are playing the game. I, of course, had the fantastic opportunity of trying the game back in like early mid-May, which was super cool. So I've had the chance to play it, and attending this event today just was going to be too much. So obviously we're not doing it, but especially I'm not totally sure. I believe they're playing the same demo section that we played. I could be wrong about that, but it was also like, I don't need to play it twice. You know, I'm good, but it should be interesting. News on Mafia, they went gold. So the game is gold. It's done. They're just polishing stuff up now. But that's all I know about it. Yeah. Watches are just investments. Some watches. Some are bad investments or will lose money. But typically you shouldn't be buying watches as investments, because realistically, if you're buying a watch for the sake of it being an investment, you're never wearing it. You're never taking it out. You're leaving it in the box with papers and not touching it. That's what you do if it's an investment. Most people don't do that. They buy a watch as like a status symbol. They buy it as a milestone marker for their career, that type of thing. So I would say typically don't buy a watch as an investment. Buy it because you like the watch and you can afford it, you know? Yeah. If you have a watch that would be an investment, you're not wearing that watch. Yeah. It's the same thing like a painting. If you have a painting that's considered an investment, like you have some sort of crazy, I don't even know. I don't know, you got an Andy Warhol original something or other. That's probably not one you're putting up in your living room. You're keeping it in an air-conditioned, humidity-controlled, safety enclosed thing, and it's insured out the ass, and like it's not something you're buying for your own enjoyment. That's what I'm saying. Honestly, just buy gold. No, buy stocks. Buy stocks, you fool. You fool. Yeah, buy stocks. When you have a cash type business, they're a good place to park cash. Well, and the good thing, and this is genuinely a reason people buy watches, but they'll buy like Rolexes and Omegas. The reason why some people buy them if they travel a lot is because Rolexes are, they're so recognizable as a brand that pretty much anywhere in the world you go to, if you get in a really bad spot and you need to go get a few $1,000 and you have your watch, you can trade it for it. Like it's something pretty much anywhere in the world you could take that watch and sell it for a pretty solid amount of money. You could also counter that and just say have cash, but it's a good way to tie up your cash in a way that's not just going to plummet in value. Way better to spend money on nice watches, in my opinion, than to spend it on like cars. Cars will plummet in value instantly, but watches depends, because some do not hold value, and it depends on the market conditions and all that. But typically, watches hold their value pretty well. Like nice watches, the nice watches you think about. There's an not authorized, but there's a certified reseller called Bob's Watches. And like, look at some of these. So this is just like your standard Rolex. So 2023 is some, but some of these, like this one is from 2010 and it's still going for $35,000. This one is from 1967. It's still going for $15,000. 1991, $14,000. So like, even though these were bought, this one, 1978. Like my mom was 8 years old when they made this watch. And she's able, like, you could still get 40 grand for this. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like most cars you bought back in 78, you're probably not selling for that much, You're probably not. Fergus rocks a Rolex. Yeah, you can barely see it, but yeah, on his wrist, he's got a Rolex. Yep. Just a small one, tasteful. Yeah. Let's see. Which game am I excited about this year? I mean, at this point, there's Mafia is the one I'm really intrigued by at the moment, because it could be like such a solid surprise and exciting like recovery for that studio, or it could be a total dumpster fire. I really hope that it's not that, but that's one I'm really intrigued by. I was hoping to have seen more of it by this point, and the fact that they've not shown more gives me pause, because Jor was like, I'm thinking that game is like 4 or 5 hours long. I was like, I don't know about that. But then it wasn't at Summer Games Fest. They didn't show anything like at the Xbox show or anything. They did have a trailer, a narrative trailer, but I mean like gameplay reveals. They didn't have anything more than that. And I just find that like it's really not that far away, like it's pretty close. So I don't know, man. That's what I'm keeping my eye on. I'm very interested in that. Of course, Crimson Desert also very exciting, very intriguing there. I genuinely am interested in Borderlands 4. I think that's going to be a good, fun one to play with my college buddies, because we used to play Borderlands in our college house. Like, you know, we would partake and then just chill and vibe all day playing Borderlands. And it was a good time. It honestly, like, it was a really good time. So I look back with, you know, fun nostalgia to Borderlands, and I'm excited to have a new one. I think that'll be fun. What else do we got? Oh, Arc Raiders. I think that looks interesting. Marathon. No, it's not happening anymore. Maybe, I mean, they genuinely could have Marathon out like by December, because they said this fall we'll talk to you about our release date. The release date could be like a month after that fall date when they reveal it, or they're going to announce the date is in like May, or we just don't know, but there's at least a chance. What else is there? Fair Games. Dude, at this point, I really don't know if that game's ever seen the light of day. I really don't. Like, it's already fighting such an uphill battle, but then again, they're reaffirming and doubling down on Marathon, so there's got to be something with Fair Game $ that they see that they think has real potential. But then again, you could say the same thing about Concord too. I mean, they said the same thing there. So I don't know, man. Who knows? Ghost of Yotei. Yep. I also feel like, you know, it's surprising we haven't seen more of that yet, but they're doing, I'm guessing, a full reveal in July where they'll show a lot about it. But yeah, that one's kind of been sneakily approaching. I feel like there's not as much discourse around it as there typically is for like big PlayStation stuff. You know, feels kind of weird that there's not much. Outer Worlds 2, yeah, that's coming, but I also, like, I think it'll be good, but I think it's an Obsidian game. You know, like, it's going to be a solid 8 out of 10, and that's good. But I'm not thinking that's going to be a masterpiece.
Donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you, my friend.
A lot of people get expensive watches as heirlooms to symbolize the passage time and spend it with people you care about. I would love to do that for my kids.
Yeah, thank you for the 10. And I agree. One of my old bosses, a guy named Kevin, hardcore like business shark. Okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Got started in commercial brokerage back in the 80s when it was like Wolf of Wall Street. Hardcore dude. Okay, he was a firm believer in, like, basically, the name sounds stupid, but vision boards. Like, what he would do is, when he started back in the 80s, he literally had his like little cubicle where he's cold calling people trying to sell apartment buildings and list apartment buildings, and he would just print out or draw or cut out from a magazine a picture of something that would symbolize a certain milestone. So he said, like, when I had $100,000 invested or saved or whatever, I had a picture of, like, I forget what he said it was. I think it was a particular car. And he put that picture up right next to his phone and everything, where he'd see it every day. And then he like would write the milestone on it. So every single day he would see, when I hit that milestone, I will reward myself with that. That's what I'm working for. And then, like, another thing, it could be just a picture of a mansion, something that, like, your dream house kind of deal. And he would have that picture up and he'd be like, once I hit this milestone, once I reach this many clients, once I get married, once I have a kid, like, he'd set the goals for his life basically up in this big montage of pictures and things. And every single day he would sit down at his desk and see those things, and it would be his motivation to, like, keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And I mean, obviously it worked for him. I don't know how much he's worth now, but wouldn't surprise me if he's worth like over 100 million or something. Like, the dude is very successful. You know, just a very successful guy, and, you know, hard on you. Not the easiest guy to work with, but knows what he's doing, you know.
$15 through Super Chat. I'm going to mix my ashes with powdered gold and give it to some random homeless person. Sorry, kids.
That's very green of you. That's very nice of you. Nice. That'll be interesting. I have a question. How are you going to give it to a random homeless person? Because if it's your ashes and you're mixed with gold, Are you just going to have your kids hand it off? I feel like you should get that process nailed down before we commit to it. You know? Oh, you're going to fake your death. And so whose ashes are we using? You know what? I feel like we're close. I feel like we just have to polish this idea up. You know? I feel like we just have to polish it up. Oh, man. Let's see what else we got. Oh, I gotta catch up on these. Yeah, no spamming chat, everybody. No spamming chat. You know better. Tisk tisk. Oh wait, I have a soundbite for this.
Live with the consequences.
Yeah, you chose to break the law. Live with the consequences. Okay, now I need to play the whole thing. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Law. You chose to broke the law. Live with the consequences.
You chose to spam the chat. Live with the consequences. John the Tank, thank you for the 5. Luke, been thinking about upgrading my phone. I've been looking at Google and Pixel phones. How do you like yours? Would you recommend it? I don't use a Pixel. I use an S25 Ultra. Love it dearly. Very, very good. I have used Pixels before, and I also love them. The general rule of thumb, at least in the past, has been if you care a lot about pictures and picture quality, Pixel, they have amazing picture quality and post-processing and stuff.
The essay donated $2.
Thank you.
Philip Burnell is a man. Live with the con S's.
He is a man. I'm still not sure he's a real person, but you know, I guess we'll see. In the long run, I don't know what's happening with him, but thank you for that. As for that, yeah, Pixel, if you care a lot about having like the latest Android features and stuff and picture quality. Samsung has like a better overall ecosystem. You know, I really like Samsung stuff, but they're both very good. I had an iPhone, and I still technically do have an iPhone upstairs. And I used to carry, both phones with me. I'd carry an Android and I'd carry an iPhone before just giving up on that and doing dual SIM on one phone. But it's because like when they introduced the Apple Intelligence stuff, it just made notifications unusable, and like the whole thing kind of took a nosedive in terms of quality and like fluidity and everything. It just was rushed and not ready. So it frustrated the crap out of me. And the other thing that really, really ticked me off was just that like Apple's voice to text still sucks ass, like so bad. It's unbelievable to me. But like in the day of our Lord Todd Howard 2025, the fact that I still can't just press the little microphone button and speak like 10 seconds without 15 typos is crazy to me, especially when you try like an Android phone and the Google keyboard works way better. Like, what are we doing? It blows my mind that the voice to text on Apple devices is still so horrible, but it is. And I don't really like typing out 15 paragraphs with my thumbs. I'm lazy like that. I like to just do voice to text, and it sucks. So that was one of the other reasons I gave up on it. Yeah, get a Trump phone. I did see that that they're doing that. Yeah. Let's see. But yeah, as for what I'd recommend, the S25 or S24 Ultras are amazing. You can't go wrong with a Pixel either. They're great. I mean, they're both fantastic. I would just say if you care more about pictures and the latest features, go with Google. If you don't really care about those, go with Samsung. A broken controller thing for the 2, 16 times the details. 16 times.
16 times the detail.
Damn right. Finally played Houses of Ashes. Loved it, says Ray Farr with 5. No, I know Supermassive has their problems, but I love their games. Can't wait for Devil in Me, not inside me. The Devil in Me and The Quarry. The Quarry is quite good. I really like The Quarry. I hope that Directive 8020 they can nail, but we'll see. I'm not sold on that one. But what are you going to do? Been using Fold 6 for a month or so, coming from iPhone, loving it so far. Dude, I had a Fold 3? Z Fold 3, I think is the one I had. Yeah, this looks familiar.
Yeah,
I think this was it. Yeah, this was like 4 years ago, I want to say. So I had this one and I used it for a while. And I liked it. I mean, I thought it was solid enough. They're way better now. I mean, they're even better now. But I remember really, really liking it. Just at the time, there was really not a lot of like software built out just for it, but apparently that's way better now. And I guess, you know, maybe you can speak to that, but my understanding is that the software and a lot of the stuff they did with the foldable phones is way better now. I imagine a lot of the like multitasking stuff is also really, really good on these phones. Yeah. Nikki used to use the Z Flip. She had the one that just folds like a clamshell. She loved that phone, dude. She loved it. Some people swear by them. I remember really liking it. I think I mainly swapped back just because of the difficulty with some specific apps. Like I think it was the YouTube Studio app wouldn't launch. Like it would launch, but like it wouldn't load into the app. It couldn't render on the screen. So it just kind of was like a major part of my business, needing to check videos or publish videos while I'm out and about, or change like a title or a description or a link or whatever. I just couldn't do that like on that phone, which is weird, just odd. But I think it's better now, you know. Let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, Mr. Mo, thank you again for the 10. Yeah, passing the watches on as heirlooms. Yeah, my grandpa has had the same watch as long as I can remember. I think it was like, I haven't actually looked at it too closely. I should ask to see it. But I believe it's like an old school Datejust Rolex from like the 1970s that he got when he was a successful lawyer back then. And he's worn that as long as I can remember being alive, because it probably is all he's worn since since I was born. And I do love the idea of that passing through the family, you know. That's cool. That's cool. GameWire's News, thank you for the 5. Hey Luke, have you thought about making your own game someday? Yes, but I also realized I probably shouldn't be sharing too many ideas. Because if I have a really good idea, I probably don't want to blast it out to everybody. But I do have some ideas and design docs and stuff I've worked on. You need FU money to make it your own game, and I don't have FU money. But if I get FU money, then I will make my own game. Locking it in officially. Let's see. Luke, did you like Serious Sam? Because Egypt, muscles. That sounds familiar. Serious Sam, first release was in 2001. Oh, it's owned by Devolver Digital now. Oh. Interesting. The second Encounter launched on Switch as well. Yeah, I haven't played these. But it sounds familiar, you know? Derek, thank you for the 4 months. Just finished Fallout 3. I know everybody hoping for New Vegas in the vein of the Oblivion one, but don't sleep on Fallout 3. Yeah, I think it could be really cool. It's just people, I think, forget with Fallout 3 that it's a product of its time. It is way more narrow than you would think. Like, it doesn't have the same scope or scale of like Skyrim. It's much more compressed, but there's genuinely very fun quests and cool quests that are incredibly memorable in those games, or in Fallout 3 specifically. It's very good. Real quick shout out. Also, Kali Frodo, thank you for the sub over on Twitch, and Spare Time Superstar, also thank you for the sub over on Twitch. Thank you guys. Big ups, can't wait for the collab with DSP. Dude, can you imagine? I don't think I'd be able to keep my composure. Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to keep my composure. Because I heard about all the stuff that went down when he got buddy with Kino Casino, and I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could do that. And I think after the Kino Casino stuff, he is so paranoid and locked down right now. I don't think he's going to talk to anybody outside of his bubble for like 5 years. And then he'll probably break out and try to do it again, and the same thing's going to happen. But yeah. Yeah, we are going to look at Blood Message. Yep, you better believe it. I got it right here. I just want to give a quick shout out. Shout out to the guys that did this. So when they first revealed Borderlands 4, one of the things that was most polarizing was they revealed that they were going with like a compass up at the top of the screen instead of like a traditional big mini map in the corner. And people were like, I don't like that. I like the mini maps. I played a lot of Borderlands. I like that. And, you know, they took the feedback, they listened to it. But what typically happens is when the community gives off like really strong opinions on something, they're like, okay, we'll look into adding it after launch. That's typically what you hear is we'll get to it after launch. It's even what we've heard with like with a lot of like even Marathon, where it's like, hey, you really need proximity chat. And they were like, well, I guess after launch we can look into adding it, maybe. And then it took a massive delay, and now they say they're prioritizing it. But typically, it's not something you just get without like delays or various things. But look at this. Look at this. So Randy tweeted out this. Borderlands 4 creative director Graham Timmons plugged in with some folks from the UI team, including the awesome Jason Brown and the badass Justin Dooley, and got some art going for the super talented Ray Pena. These guys splintered off and made something amazing happen. They added a combat radar feature to the game. They just barely squeezed it in for a QA pass so that it can go into the main branch of our software in time to ship with Borderlands 4 on September 12th. A combat radar is now an optional feature in Borderlands 4, you guys. Here's a sneak peek of what it looks like. And straight up, they just added a mini map that you can toggle on in the settings if you so desire. And they didn't make you wait till after launch. So props. It is a big deal to be able to do this that quickly, because it seems like they were pretty locked and loaded on not doing a mini map. They were like, no, we're doing the radar. We believe that that's going to be more conducive to the exploratory nature of the gameplay loop, blah, blah, blah. But they got a lot of feedback, and people were like, you know, I really would like the radar. And they did it. They actually did it. As Paul says, genuinely impressive to take fan feedback from first impressions and hands-on and get an optional minimap out before the September launch. It is genuinely very, very, very impressive. Other people like Bird, when we played in May, I was sure they would launch with just the compass. They were really adamant about it. Now we have a radar that's perfect for combat. I'm truly impressed. That's just a radar. Previous Borderlands had an actual mini map. Yeah, I mean, it is literally just a radar, to be clear. It's not going to like present the buildings and things. As far as I can tell, they're basically scanning where the enemies are placed, kind of in a top-down view, and then they'll tell you if they're below you or above you, but largely it is a radar for navigating combat-wise. It's the premise of exploration in Borderlands 4, as far as I can tell, having tried it myself, they do not want you looking here to figure out where you're going. They want you looking here. That's the whole reason they went with the compass, because they want you to just see, okay, my POI is somewhere to the east. Run in that direction. And then you start running and your eyes are in the center of the screen. That's what they want. They don't want you staring up here, figuring out, okay, I need to go around this building and do that. It's okay if you don't like that. That's fine if you prefer it the more classical, traditional way. But that's at least the idea. I tend to greatly prefer compasses in games that feature a lot of exploration. I don't tend to like over-reliance on mini-maps, personally. Like when I play The Witcher 3, I try to turn off the mini-map and just go with cardinal directions. Or there's mods you can install that basically add like a compass to the screen, and I like that stuff more. Same if you're playing Red Dead 2, you can swap the UI to just the compass. I tend to prefer that, but if you like the mini map, at least for combat, they are adding it there. So props to them for figuring it out. That's cool. It's cool. It's pretty rare that you see them pump it out that quickly. Yeah. Well, Strikers, I understand what you're saying, that it feels like something's been removed, because it technically has been, but there is a very legitimate design decision or design choice behind going with compass instead of a mini map. I understand it feels like it's just been cut and now excuses are being made, but that's like with these types of decisions, it's made pretty early on. Hey, we're going to go with a compass. We want to design levels in a way where there's longer sight lines. Like all of this has to follow suit
Cobra
from
Vids
it, you know?
donated £10 through Super
Thank
Chat.
you.
I'll be getting BL4. Looks dope. Also, Skate 4 is wish listable on Steam now in open beta test. Ish on July 2nd. TWU. Make a dank food hack and drink combo.
No, but better not wear pants, boy. Yeah, better not go live, boy. Oh, Cobra. Now that's a collab we need. Imagine if I just came on stream one day and Cobes is just like passed out on the floor casting spells and stuff. That would be goated. That would be awesome. We can only hope. We can only hope. But yeah, I mean, I understand some people prefer the more traditional way of doing things in Borderlands games. That's fine. That's fine. And as always, this is the magical thing about products and video games. If you don't like it, don't buy it. You know? It's not more complicated than that. If you don't like it, don't give them your money. But if other people do like it, great. Awesome. But then if you're like constantly whining and complaining about it, it's like, okay, well, okay, whatever. Good for you. Wolverine updates, nothing. Nada. Nothing at all. Yeah. Absolutely nothing going on there. Serious Sam 1 was Duke Nukem in Egypt, big muscles. Oh, really? Oh, maybe it's worth checking out then. Egypt, muscles, hell yeah. Judson, thank you for the 5. The only reason complaint for the the only reason complaint for the Compass Borderland has too much elevation and people don't want to go find whatever they are looking for. Oh, maybe reasonable complaint. Okay, maybe the only reasonable complaint for the Compass in Borderlands is that it has too much elevation. People don't want to go find whatever they're looking for themselves. They just want to be like guided to it. Well, and that's kind of the idea, at least behind, if I understand your point. You know, if there's like a mini map that actually charts out the, like on the little circle, it says in like the yellow dots, you know, it says, oh, you go this way, you go up the stairs, and then there's your objective. You look at the minimap, that's fine, but the game designers want you staring at the center of the screen. They want you looking at the environment, the artwork. They don't want you staring up in a corner or down in a corner at a minimap. So once they decide very, very early on that they don't want to do this, they then have to design levels in a way where you can understand the route you're supposed to go without needing to look at the minimap. Like, they should design the level in a way where you see, oh, my objective is off here in the corner of this rock, so I need to run this way and get there. They design it in a way where it's more intuitive as opposed to relying on a mini map to guide you through like really tight corridors that are confusing. So I think once people try it, they'll have a better feel for it. But I'm telling you, like having played it myself, I thought it was pretty solid. I didn't feel like I needed a mini map. It felt like the levels were designed with the compass in mind, which is good. But as always, if you don't like it, cool. Go team. Just don't buy it. Red Dead 2 update? No, nothing. No, nothing. The thing that the voice actor was talking about was not Red Dead related. Which I get it. He's it's okay if he's excited for something. He doesn't have to only ever talk about Red Dead for the rest of his life. But it is like, you gotta know what's gonna happen if he's like, I have a really exciting announcement. A lot of you guys are gonna be so excited. Like, of course people are gonna try to connect the dots. Of course they're gonna try. Caleb, thank you for that one. Hey Luke, haven't been in stream much. Busy with work, seeing if it pops off with Iran. Speaking of popping though, remember when Mr. Me popped his cherry with a big girl with room for a beer and some nuts on her back? I do remember that. I do remember that actually. Yep. And even if I didn't, now I would have been reminded. I you know what? I do remember that. That does ring a bell. Michael, thank you for the 6 months of membership, by the way, as well. Hey, Luke, have you already reacted to thoughts on Blood Message? Also, some Splitgate 2 devs are being laid off. When will layoffs stop? Never. They're going to keep going. And there's also discussions that Microsoft is setting up to lay off another several thousand employees in the next couple of months. Not just game developers, like it's going to be company wide, but yeah, that's going to happen. It's not a shocker too. Like it's why, you know, you probably have heard people say it. They're like, AI is deflationary. It's not inflationary. And it's because typically like any sort of advancement that increases productivity and efficiency leads to cost cutting measures and all sorts of stuff like that. And so I think who is at my door? Oh, Nikki's back. Lockie has a birthday party. One of his like little preschool friends has a birthday party today, so they had to go to the store and pick out a present to bring to the party this afternoon. It's pretty adorable. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, AI is deflationary typically because it leads to cost cutting, blah, 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 blah. But what that means for companies like Microsoft is wherever they can find ways to cut like customer service roles, programming, like junior programmer roles, software engineering roles, HR roles, accounting roles, wherever they can find ways to cut jobs and just replace it with AI tools, they will do that. And it gets it gets investors really excited because like, ooh, you're spending less money, which means more profits. Yay, we love that. But of course, for the people that are actually trying to like, you know, make a living and provide for their families, it's not great. Not great. Get the kid a copy of Mind's Eye. I mean, now it's on sale for like $3, I think. So it's pretty doable, I think. A budget item. I'd be like, is this it? Is it? There was a minimum price. Okay, let's talk about this, and then we're going to talk about blood message, because that does look really cool. Real quick. Carter, also thank you for the 2. New segment. Also, shout out Jeet for 1806 for the sub with Prime. Thank you. You ready? Have I tried Doom? Yes, I have tried Doom. That game, be careful. It's like addicting. It'll devour your life. It'll devour your life. Just be ready. Whew, yeah. Dune's pretty good. Also, Phlegm Nasty, yes, shout out to your friend Lou. I see what you did there. I see. Don't you think it's weird that everybody in chat stopped chatting once they saw that? Because like, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to tip him off. Everybody in chat stops messaging because like, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. You guys have caught me a couple times. You've gotten me a couple times, but you'll have to try harder than that, my friend. That was a good effort. Phlegm Nasty, thank you for the 5. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. New segment. Okay. So we all remember Monster Hunter Wilds, right? One of the most successful, if not the, I think it actually is the most successful game so far this year in terms of copies sold. Sold well over, I think, 10 million copies over. Like, it's crazy successful. It's done very, very, very well. However, even going back to the initial launch, it was pretty rough in terms of optimization. It didn't look particularly good. I remember us watching a Digital Foundry snippet talking about the performance of Monster Hunter Wilds, and they said it was like really, really, really bad. There were also concerns and frustrations over endgame content, long-term replayability, things like that. And now it seems to have fully caught up with them. You know, when we were first having those conversations at launch, people are playing the game from the start. So they're not concerned with endgame. And if your critique of the game is the endgame, they're not there, so they don't really care. And they'll mass downvote your videos and throw fits if you bring it up. But now I think people have started to hit the wall with endgame content for Monster Hunter, and they're starting to reevaluate the package that was delivered to them, and they're finding it haunting. Okay, So what is happening right now? Well, if you go to Monster Hunter Wilds, you can see they are overwhelmingly negative in recent reviews. Overall reviews are now stuck at mixed. They, I believe, were floating in mixed for a while, actually. A lot of people were dissatisfied with the performance, and that's been a common thread. But I mean, as you can see here, informational. Monster Hunter Wilds has peaked at 1.384 million concurrent players on March 1st. And I believe, again, they said they sold like 10 million copies. But if you go through these reviews, they say that it's not booting. They're bringing up worst optimization, game crashes every time I try to use the blacksmith. And the thing is, these are not people who have played a little bit of the game. Like, these are not people who played 10 minutes like the Mind's Eye reviews and were like, it's broken. 287 hours on record. What's also kind of hilarious is this review, 265 hours at the time of review. After they left this negative review, not recommended, they put in another 22 hours of gameplay. Another 22. I hate it. Let me play it for another day. Like nonstop. But this is what we see with a lot of these, 157 hours. And in this case, this is a very fair complaint. He's saying the game will no longer boot up. That's a problem. Obviously, he overcame that because he put another 22 hours in. It was posted May 28th. And then after that, it put another 22 hours. So they fixed whatever his problem was, seemingly. But you see another 157 hours discussing optimization. Like, they got into pretty deep into the end game, and they are, to say the least. And now they're posting a negative review about it, leaving this negative review until Capcom fixes their shit. This game itself is amazing, but I don't recommend buying it on PC at the moment. 74 hours. 34, okay, reasonable. This game has less content than Supermarket Simulator free demo. You do hit a wall if you're not interested in grinding I forget what they call them. There's a certain type of weapon. Oh, I can't remember what they're called. But if you're not interested in grinding that stuff, then yeah, there's not a ton for you to do in the end game. That's like the whole thing, Not recommended, 344 hours. Capcom has released another unfinished mess of a game, this time above MSRP, and obviously withheld finished content to pad their release schedule. I have a few hours. Yep. Many of which are falling asleep with the game on or AFK hanging out with my wife. And I will likely keep up with events, but won't be grinding this like I did with older titles. I would advise you wait until they fix things to purchase. There are other games and companies more deserving of your time and money. 35 hours on Monster Hunter Milds, way too short, too easy, too streamlined, too expensive, and runs like trash. Honestly, I do feel it's too short. I also felt it was too easy. You can go back and check my review. I said the same thing. Too streamlined. I'm not sure if I'd say that. But I think because it's too easy, it perhaps feels too streamlined because you don't have to use a lot of the systems. And then too expensive. I mean, the fact that it runs like trash, which it does, even still, it doesn't run well, perhaps, adds to the feeling it's too expensive. So this, I think, in general, is probably a pretty fair review. Gameplay is absolutely great, but the kid whose story we follow is not good at all. Yeah, that was one of the weirdest things, is like their obsession with trying to make that kid likable. Amazing game. I had fun at 30 FPS. Can only imagine how fun it would be at 60. What a champ. What a champ going through that. Not much commitment to attacks in this one, all sorts of stuff. But they have 230,000 reviews. Lots of reviews. And across all of them, they are sitting, even now, recent ones of the 9,900 recent reviews in the last month, they are overwhelmingly negative, with only 17% of them positive. And of course, from the start of the game's launch, they are at 59% positive. Woof. But here's the question. Does any of this matter? Because they still sold millions upon millions of copies. This was one of the worst technical launches of a AAA game I think Capcom has ever had. Certainly, I think it's one of the worst technical launches besides Mind's Eye of the year. But they still sold 10 million copies. Like, the game's optimization was widely panned. And, across both console and PC. Monster Hunter Wilds. And you can see some of this stuff that they discuss. Some people have, higher tolerance for this stuff, and that's fine. But there are some things where, like, when you boot the game, they ask you to turn on frame generation, which is one of the biggest, girthiest red flags ever. If a game runs so poorly, when you boot it, they're asking you to turn on frame generation to just get fake frames to make it playable. That's a big problem. That's a big problem. Not to mention that even if you do that, even if you turn on DLSS, quality mode, and you're running on a 4090 and stuff, the game still looks like it's been smeared in Vaseline. Like, look at this. This is what he's pointing out.
I could see that the textures in the game were confusingly poor. So many shots had textures like this that were just bafflingly low resolution. I really think this almost looks PS3 level here. And some of the textures, like this character's coat, even though it's directly in front of the camera, look straight up wrong. I presume the coat here is supposed to be white color, but the poorly configured texture compression maybe has made it into a multicolored one with obvious mosaic artifacting. When I finally got character control after the long-winded intro, I was greeted by big stutters each and every time I turned the camera while using the RTX 4060 at the default high settings at 1440p DLSS balance mode. Along with the stutters, it is quite easy to see how textures were taking a while to load in after each camera turn. So it looked bad and ran bad on the default high settings with no ray tracing on. As a reminder, these are the settings that the game defaulted to after detecting my hardware. Having tested PC games for so long, I know such strange frame time behavior when turning the camera can often have to do with aspects of streaming things into VRAM. Sometimes textures. With that learned experience in mind, I went into the menu to tweak things down when I saw another thing which gave me pause again. The game's high textures, which look poor as I just showed, are definitely not the highest at least. The highest require a separate DLC download that will come out when the game is released on release day. So at least there is a potentially better visual experience.
I also tried those. They don't look great. I just think in general, the game does not look anywhere near as good as it should to be running as poorly as it does. If it were photorealistic, but it ran kind of rough, okay, at least you can understand it. Like, it doesn't look particularly great and it runs like ass. Okay. And now, to be fair, this is as of 3 months ago. They still have not made major improvements. I mean, hence the overwhelmingly negative reviews. I mean, look at this. This is on medium textures. This should not qualify as medium texture quality in any AAA game in 2025. Are you kidding me? And this is something we brought up back when the game launched, and we had videos getting mass downvoted because people are like, no, how dare you talk out against almighty Monster Hunter? But now it feels like the community more generally is starting to see, no, it's fair. It's not great. It's really, really not great. And so the viewer or the player counts have started to plummet. And now players are actually moving back to Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World now on Steam is realizing higher concurrent player counts than Wilds. People are actually going back to it. Now, discussions over content volume, that happens with every single game. People get to the end game and then they start feeling frustrated by it. It's why it's funny to read some of these reviews and it's like, there's no content. Meanwhile, they have 350 hours in the game and it's like, do you like what? That's seems like a lot of content, but what happens is that people will go back to a Monster Hunter Wilds, which has had years and years and years of DLC and expansions even. And they're like, yeah, see, this has so much more. This is a better game. And it's like, it has more because it's been supported for years and years. I do still think Monster Hunter Wilds was lacking on overall content. I think it was too easy and it ran like ass. And, I stand by all of that. I still think it's a good game. I still think it's fun. I just don't think it's a masterpiece or anything. But going back to the question we asked at the top, does any of this actually matter? Like, it's the same exact thing that happened with Jedi Survivor. Do you guys remember that launch? Star Wars Jedi Survivor ran like trash. Star Wars Survivor. Digital Foundry. It ran like garbage. Really, really, really bad. And let's see, 2 years ago, was it the last gen? I'm not sure. But it ran really, really poorly. I'm going to show some snippets of it here. It relied on FSR upscalers to achieve even semi-decent like performance. But it was artifacted out the ever-living ass, and it just looked pretty bad when you were in motion and when you were especially playing on a larger TV. And it sucks because the game is really, really good. But you know what? They still sold millions of copies. So why would they feel the need to change it? You know, like, why would they need to make adjustments? Why would they need to listen to the feedback and delay the next game if you're still going to buy it? Like, it's the one thing about Ubisoft games. Ubisoft games, they rush them, they run poorly or look poor, and then nobody buys them. So they are forced next time to delay the game and polish it up so it runs better. That's how this is supposed to work. But with some games, I think maybe brand loyalty, look at that. Brand loyalty overcomes all of that critical thought to the point where it's like, no, I love Star Wars, I'm going to buy it regardless. Or I love Monster Hunter, I'm going to buy it regardless, even though it runs like ass. And that's what happened with Monster Hunter Wilds, is people still bought it. PS5 performance mode, 640p, 648p at times. 648p, upsampled to 1440, and it looks like it. It looks like it. Dude, it's madness. It's madness. But they got away with it with Jedi Survivor because people still bought it. And way more people even bought Monster Hunter Wilds despite it running poorly. And now, you know, they're coming around to it and be like, hey, after 200 hours, I've run out of content. You know what? I'm realizing now it's okay to be critical. And you know what? I'm upset about a lot of this. And it's good. I'm glad we're having the conversation now instead of never. But it is frustrating, I think, that we're only bringing this stuff up and talking about it as like a broader Monster Hunter fan base after they made hundreds of millions of dollars on it. You know? Because I don't think frankly, I don't think they give a damn at this point. It's like, yeah, they rushed it out. It needed another 6 months or 9 months in the oven. Like, it needed more time. But they rushed it out. Like, and then they got rewarded for it. You know, it's why it's really crucial, I think, for everybody to kind of hold everybody's feet to the fire equally with this stuff so that it's just not tolerated. Because, you know, we've jokingly said there's things that some companies can get away with that others can't. Like, you know, a company can get away with putting out something that runs poorly so long as it's in a you know, big franchise or the core game is a certain way and, you know, the fan base is willing to tolerate it. And Call of Duty is probably the worst offender of this. Like, every year people hate the new Call of Duty release and they still sell 35 million copies. You know, I hate this. Here's my money. You know, it's so stupid, but it happens all the time with some of these big IP. But who knows? Maybe now, like, if they announce an expansion or something and people don't buy it, maybe that'll wake them up and they need to fix it. But yeah, or Madden's another one. But realistically, like, if they announce the expansion for Monster Hunter and it's like, hey, coming out next summer, here's the big expansion for Monster Hunter Wilds, and it's going to be $40 and it's going to be big and crazy, I think a lot of these people are still going to buy it anyways. You know, let's be perfectly honest. I don't think an expansion can fix it, though. I think an expansion can fix the content issues if they can add a ton of content. I think that can fix the content frustrations. It doesn't magically fix performance critiques and things, obviously. But clearly, a lot of people are willing to tolerate that. Like, some of these reviews that are complaining about the performance of the game, they're complaining about it, but they have 300 hours. So clearly it wasn't that big of a deal. Because they were able to play the game for 344 hours. with those performance issues. So if they like what they're playing, they're willing to put up with the bad performance demonstrably for a long time. You know, it's I think for a lot of these people, it's the content that's frustrating them. And, you know, they reached the end game and they found the end game dissatisfying, which is why they're moving back to World. But I think if they release an expansion, they will come back because the content issue will be fixed. And just like they did for the first 300 hours, they'll tolerate the performance issues, you know? I think that's the way Capcom's going to deal with it, because they'll put that out. They'll get $40 a pop for it. And then, you know, performance will still probably be pretty bad, but they're just going to keep rolling with it. And people are going to give them even more money. And it's just going to be the same moving forward, you know? Yeah. Nothing will change till people start voting with their dollar. Well, yeah. And I mean, I think, again, the difficulty for them at this point is just that they already got everybody's money. You know, they already did the thing. They already made millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. So even if people are throwing a fit now, they're like, yeah, you go for it. Downvote on Steam. Who cares? You already bought it, you know? But, okay. Let's talk about this now. Hey, Luke, any recommendations for a handheld console under 700? Only ever had a Switch 1 and the 2 is not for me. Dude, the Steam Deck is just even better than it used to be. It really is. Get yourself a Steam Deck. The ROG Allies are good, but they're a little bit more bougie, you know? Like they have this one, the Ally X. Very, very capable handheld. It's just, you know, $1,000. They have the Ally base one, which is $650, which is also very good. But the big thing is that these run Windows, and so they have the benefits of Windows, but also the disadvantages of Windows. So you can like install Game Pass natively. You can like install the Ubisoft Connect launcher for some reason if you want to, and play games that way. It's easier for that type of thing, but it's also pretty clunky, you know, because it's just Windows on a handheld. It's like a portable laptop. But a Steam Deck, you can get the 1 terabyte OLED variant, so a much better screen that's gorgeous, and a ton of like custom code and custom like profiles for games. So, and you can also download the shaders. So the shaders don't have to compile on your device because they know what hardware the Steam Deck has. So developers can just pre-compile that and send that data out to you. It's awesome. So if I had a budget of 700, I would look at getting this guy. This is the one I have. I love it. They've made tons of improvements even since launch to the software lineup. And even some things like they have GeForce Now as like a native app. And if you don't know GeForce Now, it's the NVIDIA cloud streaming thing. And it just syncs with your library you already have on Steam or Xbox or Ubisoft or like any of those launchers. It syncs to your library. So if you own Baldur's Gate 3 on Steam, it adds it to your library in GeForce Now, and then you could stream it, and they'll let you stream it depending on the tier that you buy into. It's like, as you can see here, free, the basic ad-supported 1 hour session length, so you can at least try it. If you go to performance, you get, where is it? Oh yeah, 1440p Quad HD and ray tracing. So I think it's like a 4070 or 4060 equivalent, basically. And then if you sign up for Ultimate, you just straight up play on a 4080, and then they stream the gameplay to you. Like, it's madness. Supports 4K up to 240 frames a second, and it's pretty good, dude. If you have good like internet, if you have good Wi-Fi, it's pretty freaking good. You can even try a day pass and just try a single day and see what you think of it. It's pretty amazing. And because it's streamed, it's just like streaming a video to your handheld. So you can just like, your battery life is like tripled on the Steam Deck. If you're just sitting playing at home, you just play it through GeForce Now, and it lasts way, way longer. It's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. So I would recommend Steam Deck personally. And that's changed. I used to recommend the ROG Ally, but then I tried the improvements to the Steam Deck, and it really is that good. It's very, very good. Sayura, thank you for the membership for the sub. 7 months. Ooh, baby. Thank you. Thank you. The Legion Go. Yeah, I've heard some people really, really like it. I just am not familiar. I've never tried a Legion, so Legion Go. So I genuinely don't know. I just can't speak to it. It might be way better than the Steam Deck. I just haven't seen it. Yeah, you can also stream on your mobile. Yeah. You can also stream on your phone, on a laptop. I can stream GeForce Now on this gaming PC as well if I needed to for some reason. You have that option, but it's really cool. Yeah, to be clear, the question was specifically, I'm looking to get a handheld. Which one would you recommend? Obviously, if you can get a gaming PC, get a gaming PC. But like he's asking about handheld specifically. Derek, thank you for the 12.
Derek Jackson donated $12 through Super Chat. Hey Luke, can you give a shout out to my friend BR Eastman? He's a real DDD fan, and a fan of you as well.
Is this a trap? I don't hear anything with the name. Now I'm scared. Well, thank you, Derek, for the 12. That's very generous of you. And yeah, shout out BR Eastman. Real DDD fan and a fan of you as well. Hell yeah. Thank you for watching. Much love, everybody. Much love. Glad to have you. Yeetus Deletus, BR Eastman. What is that? Is that a trap too? Okay, I don't hear it yet. Oh no. What have I done? Or is that one that you like flip backwards or something? Dude, why is my eyeball so itchy? Oh, Breastman. Oh. David Breastman. Shout out, Breastman. Oh my God. Jesus. You got me. I'll give you that one. You got me. What type of update do you think that CDPR is doing for Cyberpunk? I'm guessing it's like a new apartment and then maybe a couple of like, I don't know, small quests, maybe something like that. I'm just not expecting it to be much. I don't want to get my hopes up and then be disappointed or anything, but yeah, I'm keeping my expectations low. That's my strategy. Okay, let's do this. Let's talk about this. New segment for the masses. Buckle up, hold on to your asses. Shout out BR Eastman. Okay. Here we are. So I want to look at a trailer for a new upcoming game called Blood Message, or depending on where you're from, Massage, if you're fancy and sophisticated. But before I do that, I just want to like set the stage for this, because I really do believe that this, you'll see this trailer and you'll understand what I'm talking about. I really think this next generation, going into like the PlayStation 6 and the next era of gaming, is going to be defined by these Eastern devs, by studios we've never heard of before. Like the PS4 era was defined in large part by like Sony third-person adventure games, you know, heavily inspired by like The Last of Us and Uncharted games. And we got some of those during that generation as well, but they were defined by those narrative-driven cinematic experiences. And that's really what defined the generation. There were other great games during that time, but I feel like when you think of the PS4 era, when you think of that like mid 20-teens era, those are the games that pop top of mind. This generation, I feel like things have largely been dominated by like live service pushes. And as Colin tweeted out, it doesn't take a genius to understand why Sony's desperate to find success in games as a service and why they'd be smart to continue down that path. There isn't a grouping of single-player game in existence that could drive this level of revenue. Sad but true. And yeah, you can see of PlayStation, percentage of PlayStation Store revenue. And this is consistent base of ongoing major franchises and high potential partnerships. You can see that like well over 50% of their annual revenue is coming from the big heavy hitters of Fortnite, EA Sports, Call of Duty, NBA 2K, GTA 5, Ubisoft Plus Classics, so the big Assassin's Creed games, for example, Rainbow, you know, all of those games. That's where most of the money is coming from. And so a lot of like Western devs and the previously well-established devs that were big and it really found amazing success in the last 15 years, they've started to try to break into that. And even like this week we saw, what is it called? FBC, FC? I think it's FBC Firebreak. Yeah, FBC Firebreak, which is coming from the guys at Remedy who put out Control, of course. And this is like a smaller project. This isn't a massive project for them, but even they are trying to get into like the team-based 3-player cooperative first-person shooter genre, as if that's not oversaturated enough. And they try some other stuff too, obviously. But, you know, we're seeing everybody kind of take a whack at that side of things because it can make so much money. And yet, even at the same time, we're seeing games pop out kind of out of nowhere, at times at least, from studios that are fairly unknown, and they just start dominating the discourse. Like, totally. They cause people to obsess over them, and they're very, very exciting because they look really good and they play really well. Stellar Blade, of course, is a recent one. Stellar Blade is not just a game for people if they want, you know, some bodacious gameplay, but it's also just a really solid action game as well. It's got a really, really solid combat system. It's really cinematic. The scope is crazy. It's just a very, very good game, you know? And there's plenty of others. Black Myth Wukong also popped off. You know, some of these are from like South Korean devs. Some of these are from Chinese devs. Some are from Japanese devs. But a lot of these are from studios that previously were not very well known. They might have worked on some mobile games or some like MMOs or big games, you know, maybe in the Eastern markets, but not necessarily big in the Western markets. And yet Western gamers are seeing them and connecting with them, even on the console side of things. These devs that historically have been focused on like mobile games are popping off. Tides of Annihilation is another one that looks amazing. This is coming from a team that also is pretty unknown. I believe this is their first game, I believe. Are they going to splash the logo? I don't really remember the name of the studio. Forgive me. But this one is really trippy and crazy. Like, look at this.
Watch out!
And then they have this whole fight in the library. If you remember this sequence. If I can get it to load. Boss fight.
You're weaker than before. Swinging your sword
Like, there is amazing talent in these studios that we just haven't seen before. And these new teams are breaking into Western game or the Western games industry very, very quickly and ferociously. And it's exciting for people. Other games like Phantom Blade Zero also have been exciting a ton of people with combat systems that are mind-blowingly complex. And, you know, when Phantom Blade Zero was first revealed last year, the year before, people thought it looked too good to be true. They thought the gameplay was like faked. And then we saw the actual gameplay. We're like, oh no, that's actually like the game. I had the chance to try it last year at Summer Games Fest. And like, it actually just is this good. it's crazy to think, but it actually is that good. And then like other ones, Crimson Desert from Pearl Abyss out of South Korea, of course. These guys are also amazingly talented. And this game is one to keep an eye on later this year as well. They're just starting to come out swinging. And there's another one now as well, which brings us to Blood Message, which is another game that came out of absolutely nowhere. But this is being produced by Thunderfire Games. It's established beside Westlake in Hangzhou, becoming NetEase's first game studio in the city. Over more than a decade of development, Thunderfire Games has grown into an innovative and internationally recognized game developer with top-tier R&D ability. and they break down some other stuff that they've worked on and things. Series successful titles such as Justice, Naraka Blade Point, Chinese Ghost Story, Fragpunk, and Ananta. The studios collaborated with Blizzard to bring globally renowned games like World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, and Overwatch to Chinese players. With exceptional self-development capabilities, Thunderfire pursues excellence, innovation, and remains committed to its original passion, creating immersive gaming experiences that beyond players' imagination goes beyond their imaginations. The dazzling virtual worlds created by Thunderfire, filled with rises and falls, witnesses both the passion and excitement of players and Thunderfire's dedication to innovation and craftsmanship. And this team, based again out of Hangzhou in eastern China, they're coming out swinging with another one. Let's see what it is. Is this going to be another one that pops off? Let's see. I have a feeling.
大唐还在的时候，丝路上的灯火从西域一直亮到长安，能点亮天上的星河。
大唐离我们太远了。 神佛还会庇佑河西吗？
我是认真决定的，我还是想再试一次。今日我们所流的血，是为了把大唐带回来。我们必须在破城之前把安宁带出来。
Oh, baby.
Anning, 等着我。安宁，
阿爷，我将追随沙洲一举。
去长安。 这是让他们去送死
，Bro。
输赢成败，皆如沙上之大，风来即散，为众生之苦。 长漫于天地之间。
回家吧，这一切毫无意义。天命所归，我才是大唐。到头来，除了死更多人，什么都不会改变。
没有我的帮助，你走不出这片沙漠。
Dude, it's like Uncharted meets Assassin's Creed meets God of War.
阿宁，走啊！
阿爷！
如果神不肯拯救我们的部族，那就让我来。
哦，
阿宁，等着我。
是对信使，每个人都做好了有去无回的打算。
Blood message. But don't worry, you're getting fair games and marathon. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You've got other stuff to play. And next year, they've got a Horizon Online game and a Horizon MMO as well. And then a different Horizon thing. Yeah. Like, do you see why I'm starting to really think that next gen, when these games start pouring out, all of like the game of the year leaders, it's not just going to be, Eastern devs, of course, but it's going to be a lot of new teams. Even like Sandfall out of France, a team with their first game coming out, and right now likely the front runner for game of the year. And it's a team that, a year ago was not being taken too seriously. Like, it wasn't seen as that much of a threat, but now they're leading it off. And it just goes to show you there's amazing talent out there. I really just believe that so much of that talent has been squandered by poor management, poor leadership decisions, by executives that would rather try to twist that talent into being used for cash cows and live service games instead of just making something more compelling. This, can you just imagine if Ubisoft came out with this trailer? It was like, hey, this is Assassin's Creed China or something. People would lose their minds. Like, it would break the internet. People just brains melting, because this is the type of game people want. This is the thing that excites them. This is really cool. It's just coming from teams you probably haven't heard too much about. As you can see here, it's from NetEase Thunderfire 24 Entertainment, coming to PC and console platforms. The game is based on true historical event of the Dunhuang's uprising, set in the Tang Dynasty in 848 AD. Players take the role of a nameless messenger who embarks on a perilous eastward journey to deliver the message that holds the fate of his homeland. Oh! It's pretty Gucci. Pretty Gucci. So this is just one more to add to the list of games that look really, really good and that I think could totally pop off and end up being, phenomenal. As you see in the comments, single player, linear action adventure. Yeah, I'm getting this. Yeah, but I mean, can you imagine if like, this is not a mystery. This is what's so funny about this generation of consoles and releases, is that none of this is really that novel. Even it's not that surprising. We've known, and they've known, players love these kinds of games for years. I mean, again, the last generation was kind of defined by these types of games, and it was defined by that because players connected with them and bought a lot of them and loved them. They loved them. But now we see the trailer, and it's exciting because we've gotten so little of that from the previous, kings of that type of game, Sony and PlayStation, because they've instead just chosen to totally focus on live service slop. This is the kind of game all those AAA studios should have been making instead of those live services. Yeah, and I'm guessing they would have made a lot more money than those failed live service games as well. From not knowing about this game 5 minutes ago, it is now at the top of my most wanted list. Looks incredible. Yeah, literally. Like, that's what a good trailer and a solid game can do. This looks like what Assassin's Creed should have been by now, which honestly, as somebody who's played Assassin's Creed games since I was a kid, yeah, I think that really, like, they could be here and they could get there. But I also feel like, once again, the AC franchise is kind of held back by that need to pay back $400 million development costs. Like, they have to find some way of paying the bills, so they have to fill it with, like, you know, all these XP boosts, the cosmetic skins, all of that stuff. Incredible trailer. Those landscapes are chef's kiss. Finally, we get Uncharted 5. Yeah, dude, it does kind of give off Uncharted 5 vibes. I'm glad I'm not the only one who feels that way. Half of this guy's life consists of him falling on something, or something falling on him. Yeah, kind of. This is the type of game that that have all my attention. Let's see what it brings. I see quite a bit of Uncharted and Tomb Raider reboot DNA in this, and I'm liking it. It reminds me of Uncharted with some Assassin's Creed. Chinese devs about to take over the industry. Yeah, and I just think it's, you know, for a long time, when I was in college, it's a quote from some book or economist or something. I don't remember who said it. But in college, the big thing that my professors reiterated multiple times, they're like, China is a sleeping giant. Sometimes they call him sleeping dragon as well. Again, I think some economists said it initially, but it applies to many different things where there's so many people. There's 1 billion people in China, and there's a lot, as a result, partially of that too, there's a lot of talent out there. And the moment somebody can figure out how to utilize that talent and those skills and distribute that to the rest of the world, you make a lot of money. A lot of money. You know, because there's some people out there that even, you know, are releasing big AAA games, and they're not even that talented. And they're making millions. Imagine if there's a company and a team that is very talented who starts releasing games globally. Like, that's when you start to pop off. That's when you have Black Myth Wukong selling tens of millions of copies. You know? You know? So it's once you start breaking into the worldwide market that things start to get crazy. And it's happening, you know, not just with video games, with stuff like this, or Crimson Desert out of South Korea, or Phantom Blade, also out of China. Tides of Annihilation, I believe these guys are South Korean. I could be mistaken about that. I'm not totally sure. Black Myth, also Chinese developers. It's not just in the video game space, but it's also everywhere else, like cars. Like, once Chinese cars could start being sold in the US, like, ooh. Oh, you know, there's some, you know, Ford, whatever they call it, the F-150 Lightning might be in trouble. You know, it already is, to be fair. Yeah, some Tesla Model 3s might be in trouble. Same with phones. Like, have you guys seen that trifold? Is it Xiaomi trifold? I think it's the Xiaomi. Yeah. MKBHD did a video on it. Look at this thing. You're not allowed to buy this in the US.
Ridiculously thin, about 4 millimeters. So in total, they actually using it. But yeah, thin bezels.
Yeah, look at this.
But you know, we're not done. So this is what we're all here for. The final fold, which opens this thing up to a full 10.2 inch corner to corner display. So this is now a full 3184 by 2232, 90 hertz OLED display, thin bezels all the way around, amazingly, with a hole punch selfie camera over to the left side, 2 creases, 2 hinges, and yeah, this is not an iPad mini size screen in your pocket. This is literally a full-sized 10-inch tablet in your pocket, which is actually incredible. Now,
it's not perfect, to be fair. I mean, it's not dust resistant at all. They actually said if you carry it in your pocket, the lint in your pocket could cause the hinges to break. So it's not a practical phone, okay? There's a reason, like, you probably still wouldn't buy this even if it were available. But a lot of, like, these products that are coming out of the East are not available to, like, Western markets. Can't buy it in Europe, can't buy it in the US, can't buy it in South America, can't buy it in Canada. It's just not available. But I think if they were to make it available, it would really shake up the industry, like a lot of these industries, in major ways. And so I don't think it's just the gaming space. I think it's a lot of different industries are about to get shaken up over the next decade or so, as a lot of this stuff starts to pierce the veil of the Western markets. Because there's, like, you know, the one thing the West is really good at doing is consuming. And when we see something we like, we spend money on it. And Whether it's Blood Message or something like Crimson Desert, Phantom Blade, Tides of Annihilation. We see these games. We like them. We'll buy them. We'll buy a lot of them. Especially because we are not, we're really not getting much. Like, we're not getting these games that historically PlayStation's been able to deliver, and we will eventually get more. I mean, Naughty Dog's working on stuff, Santa Monica's working on stuff. We will get those games. Ghost of Yotei's later this year. But like, Ghost of Yotei is one game in 2025. And then just like in the next, I don't know what these timelines are like. I don't know what Tides of Annihilation or Phantom Blade, like what their estimates are. But probably in the next like 48 months, more likely like 24 to 36, we're going to get all of these, and then even more. You know, the Black Myth Wukong guys are going to come back with another game and, you know, take the world by storm again. I'm pretty sure. So it's just, you know, don't assume that the next generation is going to be more of the same. I think whenever there's somebody asleep at the wheel, they tend to get punished. And I feel like Sony is largely asleep at the wheel. And they've been riding on the coattails of a very successful generation last time around. And they could get humbled pretty quickly by some of these devs that are producing stuff players are connecting with that they've been asking for, and they just haven't been given yet. So buckle up, guys. It's going to be crazy. But I think the takeaway is we're going to have a lot of pretty amazing looking games coming in the not too distant future. So get excited, man. Get excited. Okay. Where are we now? 16 minutes. 16 minutes. Kai is at a level 16 hype train. I didn't know they could go that high. Oh. Can you imagine? 16 minutes until the gameplay reveal. So I guess we can do a lead into this. Let me close these tabs down. And booyah. Booyah. Can the Steam Deck run modded games? Yes, but it depends on how you're modding them, and even then they may not run that well. But yeah, you can. If you, like, as always, if you know what you're doing, you can make pretty much anything work with it. But he's chilling with LeBron. Oh, that would do it. Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, you chill with LeBron. You know what? I'm surprised it's not higher than a 16. I didn't know you could get to a level 16, but you're chilling with LeBron. Wow. That's just freaking funny, man. Okay. Yeah, this is the CDPR devs game. Yep. They're doing a little reveal for it, which should be fun. Should be fun. Okay. We can do a little lead-in for it because we have a little bit of time. Okay, they finally got up to 1080p. They were stuck at only 720p for a bit, but okay, we're good now. Let me catch up on this real quick. Let's see. Phlegm Nasty, thank you for the 5. I think CDPR is going to come out with the Unfinished Moon expansion. No way, you think so? That would be very surprising if they did that. I'm not getting my hopes that high. I'm guessing it's going to be like something fairly small and lean. It's going to be like a new apartment to buy, a couple new vending machine things, like nothing crazy. I mean, I'd love to be wrong, but I wouldn't get my hopes up that high. Banana Blitz, thank you for the 5. No, guys, you don't understand. It's not real Assassin's Creed. They don't have time savers. Yeah, can you imagine? They're like, Luke, would you like to ask the devs a question? Yeah. How much will the time savers be? The XP boosts. $5, $3. Oh, there aren't any. Okay. Weird. Odd. Just, yeah, do a little trolling. A little bit of trolling. Let's see. And then also Zero, thank you for the 5. I'm sorry, but Japan and China are the new golden age of games. Well, I mean, they're making it really hard to think otherwise. They're doing a very good job so far. South Korea is also coming out swinging with some games. And the other thing is, like, after Black Myth Wukong, there was a flood of investment that went into a lot of these developers. There was that story, Let me see. I think it was, yeah. Is this it? There's an article about it. I'm not seeing the article. I'm just seeing this one. Phantom Blade Zero received funding thanks to Black Myth Wukong's success. According to two different sources who worked in the development of the game for S Game, the studio that I talked to directly, this is the case. Let's see. To be clear, the success of Wukong did not by itself trigger all the funding for Phantom Blade Zero. Phantom Blade was very advanced in development once Wukong had launched. The tremendous success of Wukong in China in particular signaled to many investors that AAA gaming is the new golden egg. Many studios saw investments coming their way after Wukong release. This is not news. What is news is that Phantom Blade Zero did get a substantial amount of extra investments and funding thanks to the success of Wukong, allegedly. Both my sources agree that even before the actual release of Wukong, S-Game got new funding thanks to all the hype and metrics surrounding Wukong. Allegedly, the gameplay demo shown in China at China Joy NTGS 2024 were a direct consequence of the extra funding, as the studio was evaluating the future of the game before that. Frankly speaking, this to me sounds a bit odd, but it is what I've been told. My sources tell me the head of the studio goes by the name of S, colloquially among staff. Allegedly, he has been extremely enthusiastic and excited about Phantom Blade Zero, as he only worked on mobile games before. Finally, and I emphasize, allegedly, the studio even had to turn down investors after Wukong released, as so many came rushing to join this new wave of AAA Chinese development hype. All alleged, but it lines up. I mean, it checks out. Man goes by S. It's kind of baller, honestly. That's pretty baller. That's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I remember when I was trying to figure out who the studio was that was making it, I tried to look up, where is it? Is this it? I was trying to find the studio. And you know, they make a lot of stuff, you know, historically they made a lot of smaller stuff. S-Game, Phantom Blade. This is Phantom Blade Executioners. I want to know, where's the... Not Game Science. S-Game. Well, maybe I can't find it. Maybe I can't find it. I'm bad at this. Yeah, I don't see it. And we did a lot of digging into them. Maybe we'll do a follow-up video at some point about it, because that's one of the interesting things about this new wave of games that look amazing out of these Eastern devs, is that they all are like, not all of them, but a lot of them are former like mobile game developers. So they've worked on like MMOs, or they've worked on sort of maybe just mobile tower defense games. Like they've worked on smaller stuff, but nothing that would really excite you. And then they get like this chance to go crazy and make one of these big like open world adventure games, and they just do a phenomenal job. And it's just amazing. It makes you realize how much talent is at every single one of these studios. Even the studios that are pumping out Monopoly Go and games like that, these mobile games, there's a ton of amazing talent in there, even if the current game they're working on is like not that inspiring. You know, if you get the right leadership, the right vision, and they know what they're doing and they're passionate about it, amazing stuff can happen, dude. Amazing stuff. And we're seeing that. There we go. Let's see. Yeetus Deletus Ultra. Thank you for that. Hey, how come that Wu Chang Gang is not, or game is not getting more attention? I saw the IGN video on that. It looks fun. I think that one, it was just... Whoops, I didn't press that. Wu Chang. I think it did get a decent amount of attention. Because I mean, I think it also looks good. I mean, maybe got like a little drowned out with the sheer volume of everything else that was going on. But like, this is another one to pay attention to. Absolutely. So yeah, don't sleep on any of these. Don't sleep on any of these. These all look insane in a good way. Whew. But oh, we're about to kick this off, so I got to do this. Yeah, it's starting in 10 minutes. Yes, I do have it pulled up. Don't you worry. 8 minutes now. Ooh, baby. So let's lead into this. News, Also, thank you, Arik, for the 100 bits. Yeah, as for that video, yeah, I still have it on the docket thing. We'll see. I believe this presentation is supposed to be about 45 minutes long. I think that's what the tweet said. So we'll see what they say. But let's lead into this. News segment. Okay, everybody. Today is the day. Rebel Wolves, the former Witcher 3 devs that started their own development studio, they are doing a gameplay reveal event where they are going to showcase their game for the first time. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I've been keeping an eye on it for a while. I think this game looks really, really good. Honestly, it looks very much like what I was hoping the new FromSoft game was going to be. That's the like Switch exclusive, because it's like vampire open world adventure game and lots of Witcher 3 inspirations. This one though is not a co-op game, and it's also not Switch exclusive, which is also good. That also is exciting. And they said that they're going to be showcasing some of the open world stuff. They're going to show about 15 minutes of gameplay from what I understand. If I pull up the little tidbit here, you can see, join us live at Twitch this 21st. You can expect to see in the live stream 15 minutes of gameplay with presentation of features, dev insights in the game's magic, traversal, and combat system, epic music, and more. And that's what we're about to witness. We're about to witness it in 6 minutes. But if you're watching this as a stream clip, it will happen very, very quickly. Dare I say, in the blink of an eye. So this is where Jacob cuts the video and then cuts to that. But for us here live, we just have to sit and take it. Yeah, we just have to sit and take it. I will say, when I loaded this up earlier, Twitch in the span of like 60 seconds gave me like 3 different ads. So I'm just going to tell you guys, if you're watching on Twitch, maybe give it a shot on someplace else, or get Twitch Turbo. Twitch Turbo is also very good. And I think they're doing a free demo for it. Yeah. Imagine it being Mind's Eye, but with vampires. Dude, we can only hope. We can only hope. Yeah, this is the little snippet they say they gave us as a just a little taste.
Ever get that feeling that someone is watching you, even if you're like totally alone?
No matter the play style you decide on, it's all about immersion.
Yeah, okay, stop here.
We really did our best to create the world which feels real.
There's one more thing we have to do.
Oh, I think we're going to have a live demo. Not live demo, live music. They're going to do a little musical cutaway. I'm calling it now. That's on my bingo card. Walking through a forest. I like that. Immediately when the strings hit, I was like, oh, this is Witcher devs through and through.
Immersion.
Yeah, okay, stop here.
This right here.
We really did our best to create the world which...
Come on, that's straight Witcher. Like, that's a Witcher vibe. That's Witcher DNA through and through. I love it. I love it. I also love walking on walls. That's cool. That's pretty baller. I'm excited for this one, dude. This one seems pretty interesting. Pre-beta in-game footage. Beta! Bring it on, dude. Bring it on. Dude, and then there's... I found someone. I found someone. I found a miserable person. The game needs better shading, dark coloration, lighting, ambient occlusion, and level of detail. Wow. Alan, I appreciate you following me, but fam, it's not even in beta yet. Like, it's a work in progress. Hey, come on. Come on. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to look at it and be like, hey, that looks pretty good. It's okay. It's okay. We'll be okay. The Morbius game. Yeah, can you believe it? They spun it off. The movie didn't do great, but they spun it off into a video game. It's wild. It's wild. Chat, it's real. Is this real? I think it's real. Yeah. I can't help but compare it to the Witcher 4 tech demo. I know I shouldn't, but I can't stop it. Yeah, well, you should. No, it's the tech demo is always cool, but you do just have to remember some of those tech demos are just, again, they're proof of concept. But like this. Do you guys remember this tech demo they released? The next gen. This is 5 years ago. Where they revealed this. And technically speaking, this was running on Unreal Engine 5. This was running in real time. But I feel like we still have not seen any games that look anywhere close to this. Like sheer level of detail and everything. Because it's a tech demo, you know? Like, look at this bit. But it's because it's like, you know, it's a tech demo. So after 5 years, we still haven't gotten anything quite on this level. Except, funnily enough, from a lot of those Chinese devs and like Korean devs we were just looking at. They're putting stuff out that looks close to this, but yeah. Still haven't seen anything quite on this level, I feel, in like a full-fledged release, but jeez, dude. 5 years ago. 5 years ago. That was May 13th of 2020. Anyway. You ready? We're close, fam. 1 minute. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Like, wait. Ain't nothing but a peanut. Ugh. Locked in. Everybody check your phones, stretch your legs, because we're about to lock in. We're about to lock in. Get ready. Get ready. 30 seconds. Ain't nothing but a peanut. Wait, what? Dude, it's a reference to Ronnie Coleman, if you haven't seen that. Like, the bodybuilder from the 90s. Yeah. Every time he'd lift a really big weight, he'd just do, ain't nothing but a peanut. Lightweight. Lightweight. Yeah, buddy. So that's what I'm referring to when I quote that all the time. Sorry, not sorry. It's, is this a spin-off, Luke? Great question. Okay, buckle in. Here we go. It's starting. For those of you watching the clip, that was fast.
That feeling that someone is watching you.
I do.
If you're like totally alone.
No matter the play style you decide on, it's all about immersion.
Yeah, okay, stop here.
We really did our best to create the world which feels real.
Dude, I love the
There's
Witcher
one more thing
bops.
we have to do.
We're here. I double checked the date because I was like, what if they just moved it a day? What if they pulled a Ghost of Yotei? Join us for the actual event in a week.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Blood of Dawnwalker gameplay reveal event. My name is Dominika, I'm the community lead here at Rebel Wolves, and I am joined by a familiar face, a content creator, streamer, YouTuber, and my co-host for today, Lionheart.
Thank you so much, Dominika, and hello everybody. You are joining us here live in the Rebel Wolves studio once again, and this time on the first day of the astronomical summer.
Yeah.
Dominika, you guys really do think about these stream dates, don't you?
Yeah, I think it makes it a bit more fun, you know. We are going to talk about magic today, among other topics. And what's a better occasion than the summer solstice? This is supposed to be the day when our connection to magic is the strongest. And we have all these different rituals and celebrations connected to it, and to the sun and light in general.
I thought they were
That's
just picking a
true.
random
I suppose
date.
It fits the theme really well. It adds a little bit more to that mystery. And of course, we want to thank all of you for joining us live today, whether you're watching along in our own stream or with one of the wonderful content creators who decided to co-stream this event.
Stop it.
Welcome in, everybody. But perhaps this is the first time that you have seen anything related to the blood of Dawnwalker. So, Dominika, how about we catch them up?
Of course, of course. The Blood of Dawnwalker is the first chapter of a brand new role-playing
It's a little
saga
stuttery, I don't know
by
why.
us here at Rebel Wolves. And it's a dark fantasy, narrative-driven, epic adventure. You know, and it's full of twists and it's great.
It's UE5.
It is going to be quite the game. And if you didn't see the previous stream, perhaps you can check out the YouTube channel as well. The Dawnwalker YouTube channel has all of the information from the previous stream. You will be able to learn more about the world and also like the main concepts of the game as well. But that was
Twitch, what are we doing?
Dominika, we know why everybody's here today, right?
Yeah.
Let me refresh.
To it.
No. We have to tease them at least a little. Of course, we are going to show you some gameplay, but we've got to pull it back just a tiny bit. Let's give them an overview of what they can expect, right?
Okay.
So, first, straight out of the gate, it is that gameplay.
Yes, you will see 19-20 minutes of gameplay in total. We are going to show you a fragment of a quest, but we will be focusing on the gameplay features and not on the story, not to spoil anything for you. You will see 2 examples of how we can approach that one quest. First, from the day perspective, with Quen as a human, with his sword fighting skills and magic, of course.
I love it when people say
then,
sword.
during the night, with some vampiric abilities at his disposal.
Looks like you're going to get to see a little bit of everything. And what you're going to see, all of it is taken in engine, right?
Yes, we recorded it on PC, on a build from last week, actually. We want to show you what the game looks like right now. And yes, you'll see some glitches and imperfections, but this is not the final product, of course. You know, we'll be entering the beta stage of development soon, so we have a lot of polishing still to do, including next iterations of animations, lighting, visuals in general, and optimization, of course.
Of course, but I think it's really refreshing that we're going to get to see where the game really is right now, rather than where maybe it might be if we weren't using the engine.
Yeah.
I think it's really good and deserves some props for that. I think that's really, really cool. But of course, we are not just going to give you gameplay and send you off into the night. That would be crazy. We have some very, very talented devs here at Rebel Wolves, and what we're going to do is we're going to get some insight from them. They're going to dive deeper into all of this content, all of the footage you're going to see. They're going to talk more about the magic system, traversal, and of course, the combat as well. But there is more. It would not be a Rebel Wolf stream without an extra special performance, right?
It will be super special. I cannot wait for you guys to see it, but
Music.
that's not all.
True,
Again.
it just keeps coming.
Lock it in.
In the last couple of weeks, we've been hosting a Q&A over in the Discord for the Blood of Dawnwalker, and Dominika and I are going to do our very best to answer as many of those questions as we can throughout the course of the stream.
Yes, I'll be the musical
We will also have some
talent.
people checking in on the live chat, so do get some questions there. You never know. They might just make it through to us.
Yeah. Okay, so without further ado, let's see some gameplay of the Blood of Dawnwalker. And for those of you wondering, yes, it will be available in 4K on YouTube right afterwards.
Take it away.
Let's go, lightweight, baby. Yeah, buddy. I like that title sequence. That's cool. Yeah, I'm flute guy this time around. Actual gameplay. They're like, for the love of God, don't think that this is final. Which is good. I respect this way more than like something fake. Show me the real thing.
Hello, my name is Daniel Sadowski and I'm the design director at Rebel Wolves. I would like to welcome you to the Blood of Dawnwalker summer gameplay video. Our game is a story-driven, open-world dark fantasy RPG set in medieval Europe. The game is currently in pre-beta stage, and what we are going to show you is just a part of one of the mid-game quests. It's a really cool story involving legendary swords and a haunted almshouse, but today we'll focus on showcasing our gameplay systems.
Okay.
We're starting on the outskirts of Svatro, the game's largest city and the capital of Vale Sangora. From here, we could head anywhere the eye can see, explore ancient ruins, or sabotage vampire blood transports. But it's not just about where or when you go. It's also about how you approach the main quest and shape the story, making each playthrough uniquely your own.
Okay.
For now, we're following the road. Cohen is on his way to the city's cathedral, chasing leads about a powerful weapon said to be hidden in its crypts.
Okay.
But first, we'll have to deal with some bandits who camped out by the main road.
Classic.
Traveling through Vale Sangora is never boring. The world is dense with quests, random encounters, and locations steep in lore. This will be a great opportunity to show you our combat system. Our goal was to make the player feel like a real swordmaster who closely observes his enemies. We'll begin this fight by using acrid dust to stun one of the enemies. Now, when you attack, you choose one of 4 directions: up, down, left, or right, in order to hit the opponent where he's unable to parry.
KCD
and similarly,
inspirations?
when defending, you have to take note of the enemy's intent and the direction of the attack. On the left side of the screen, just above Cohen's health, you have activation charges that will be filled in with each successful attack, block, and parry. Once they are full, you can use one of the active abilities which allow you to take a more tactical approach to fighting. We started the fight by throwing some acrid dust, and now let's cast Burning Blood. It's a hex which boils the enemy's blood and burns their skin, dealing physical damage over time. Alright, time to finish this fight. Let's use the final activation charge to cast the artery attack, which actually decapitated the last opponent. Our hero quickly dispatched the bandits, so let's loot a few items they've left behind and open the inventory. First of all, let's replenish our health by eating something, and then take a closer look at this cool-looking weapon we just picked up.
The chopper.
Ah, it has better stats than our current weapon, so let's equip it right now. We've also leveled up, so let's use this opportunity to spend the newly acquired skill point in one of Cohen's skill trees. The skills in the Blood of Dawnwalker are divided into 3 trees, one for human, one for vampire, and one shared between the 2. We also have an active abilities panel. We can use it to unlock additional abilities to use during combat. Note that during the day, the health bar is not regenerating. You need to find consumables like the one we've just eaten. The hexes we've just used also consume some of Cohen's health. Be aware of that.
Okay.
The way our magic system works, there's always a price to pay for manipulating reality. But we can make it sting a bit less. Let's level up the Frugal Witchcraft skill, so next time we'll cast a hex, it'll consume fewer of Cohen's health points. Now that we've wrapped up the encounter with the bandits, we can be on our way to get inside the city. Right now, Cohen hasn't done enough to ruffle the Vampire Lord's feathers, so the guards will just wave us through. But the more damage you cause, the more suspicious and aggressive they'll become. So when you play the game yourself, you'll have to decide whether you want to challenge the vampires openly, or lay low until you're ready to strike and surprise them.
I like that. You mean actual consequence? Madness!
The Knyaz doesn't deny the old fetish.
Out of my face.
This is the rich district of the city, Silberkreis. There's also Altenmarkt, Neustadt, and the Middens. Each of the boroughs has its own feel and character.
Get your stinking ass out of here. I was just passing through, I swear. I got tired.
and sat down and started begging.
Looming high over the city is Brancis's castle, Greifberg. He took it over when he slaughtered the human ruler of the valley, Skender, as shown in the trailer we shared with you earlier in January this year. In order to complete the main quest and save your family, you'll have to storm the castle, alone or with help of friendly NPCs. We could do it right now if we wanted, but it would be super challenging.
No more drink for you, my friend. Go home.
Oh, let me. I just want to. Oh, let me in.
You made a mess, and it's not that kind of inn.
Let's check the map. The cathedral is really close. There's plenty of other places to see and things to do here. A couple of inns, a medic, a blacksmith, an armorer, and other merchants. You can see that not only the vampires came out of the shadows. This creature on the right is called an Uriash. Look around, especially at night, and you'll learn humans have lots to fear, not just the vampires. And here we can see guards pounding on some poor guy's doors.
What is it about? Singing songs that mocked him and the faith. Who told you this nonsense? Was it Livia?
It's just one of many different community scenes we're implementing in the game. Watch them closely when you play, as they might point you to new quests and hidden treasures, or signal changes in the game's world.
Oh, I like that. Give me a reason to listen to NPCs rambling about stuff.
Ouch! I don't want to say it, Mum. It's a prayer. It's what we have to say. Go on. I humbly beg of thee, protect
Okay, we are at the cathedral gates. Again, since Cohen isn't yet wanted by the vampire regime, and it's daytime, we can simply walk inside.
Yeah, for being an alpha, this is very solid. Like, I understand not many people have probably seen a lot of alpha showcases or alpha gameplay demos and stuff because they don't tend to show them to the public. But for alpha, it's very
Baptism of
good.
a newborn is a solemn moment, doubly so. A new life joins our flock, bringing happiness to its parents and to the congregation.
Look like you're about to drop it.
Ex sanguine est, alitur sanguine, et in sanguine morietur. Ego te baptizo in nomine Dei. Amen.
It's crazy. They're even praying to Todd in this game, too. It's wild.
Don't I know you from somewhere, young man? Laslia, maybe.
Oh, I remember that timer.
I'm sorry, but you must be mistaken.
Am I? Perhaps. Perhaps. My memory isn't what it used to be. Come with me. I'll take your confession.
Thank you, but I have no need for confession.
Ah. So you deem your conscience clear?
I wouldn't go that far.
That's a trick question.
But I'm sure you're a busy man, Father. So while I appreciate the offer, I feel that my soul shouldn't be your priority.
I won't press the matter. You are quite correct. I have many other duties to attend to. But please remember that in order to be saved, we all need to repent. Myself included. I hope we can speak again soon. Good day to you, Cohen.
Mysterious.
What we saw right here was just one of many cutscenes we recorded for the game, which smoothly transitioned into a dialogue scene. We use cutscenes to highlight key scenes or showcase interesting bits of lore. Like this blood baptism. Creepy, isn't it? The core feature of the Blood of Dawnwalker is the dual gameplay loop. Remember, Cohen may be a human during the day, but he turns into a vampire at night and has a different set of skills at his disposal. And this is just one variable that affects our quests. Depending on when you tackle a particular quest, what choices you've made earlier, whom you befriended, or whom you've angered, your gameplay and story experience will be very, very different. So each quest is a complex structure with multiple possible paths leading to the end goal. We maximize players' freedom and agency, offering you a narrative sandbox to play in. I wonder what secrets may be concealed up there, just beyond Cohen's reach. And how do we get there? It's impossible to do during the day, but come night, it's an entirely different story. Let us explain what we mean by taking our current quest as an example. During the day, we got inside the cathedral without any problems, since it's open for all to see and Cohen doesn't yet stand out from the crowd. The scaffolds, though, are outside of his reach. But climbing them won't be a problem for the vampire, who has many more exploration abilities at his disposal. Bear in mind, Cohen has not completed the quest yet. What's more, there are still a few clues to be found in order to solve this story. It's worth mentioning that narrative sandbox also means that we may completely abandon this quest and follow a different path to defeat Brensis. For today, we're focusing on the gameplay part, so let's see how we could tackle this particular quest during the night. We're starting right after dusk, as a vampire, on the rooftops of Svatro. Right now, we have 22 days left to complete this goal. This counter is always displayed and you will be warned each time it's pushed forward. So you have to be aware of the time, and it's more of a resource you'll be spending than a racing clock.
Okay.
As a vampire, you'll see and experience the world from a different perspective. You can travel quickly and easily access places beyond the reach of regular humans. Let us show you what we mean. This is Shadow Step, a unique vampiric ability, allowing Cohen to jump to almost any place within his reach. Now, let's take a good look around using the focus mode. This ability highlights objects of interest and loot. And there is something right here. This time, it's just some items to grab, but on other occasions, who knows? You might come across a hidden quest. Looks like our health is quite low. This is because, as a vampire, your health bar also represents your hunger level, and you start each night thirsting for blood.
Yeah, buddy.
Remember, you have to quench this appetite in order to make full use of your vampire abilities, and rein in your monstrous nature around NPCs. Otherwise, you may end up draining someone important, which may lead to unpredictable consequences.
So
we'd better feed then.
If you don't
Maybe
feed,
on
like he'll feed
someone who is
uncontrollably?
standing all alone, like this drunkard. Let's grab him and use Voracious Bite ability. Unless you lose control due to hunger, you get to decide how much blood to drink.
Okay.
You can drain just a bit and knock your victim unconscious, or go all the way and kill them. And if you're adamant you don't want to hurt innocent humans, you can drink from animals and some other creatures.
Oh, that's going to be a fun challenge run.
Finally, we are at the cathedral, but it seems to be closed for the night, and the entrance gate is well guarded.
I see a window.
Let's find another way in.
Yeah, it is like...
Shadow Step is not the only vampiric ability you're gonna learn during
Walking
your
on walls?
playthrough. Cohen can also use plane shift to scale walls and even ceilings smoothly.
Ooh, look how smooth that is. It is like Vampire and The Witcher had a baby.
This will allow us to explore every nook and cranny of the cathedral.
And you guys know I like Vampire.
Better be quiet. Is that voyeurist Xanthi? What the hell is she doing here? What is she doing? Is that a ritual for the blood gods? They're covering up the old paintings. Why? One of the workers must have left it. Seems that the cathedral complex is quite big. The main building, cloisters, inner courtyard. The entrance to the crypt could be anywhere. Won't get anything done just standing around. Still.
This was a scene investigation, a mechanic we used to zoom in on and showcase key clues. This time we had a chance to learn more about the vampire's plans. Looks like they're keen to cover up the old frescoes, so that's something we could take a look at. This way we could learn more about the cathedral's past. Looks like we aren't alone here. Underneath us there's a group of blood gods, soldiers hooked up on vampire blood, which makes them stronger. And one of Brances's vampire allies. It's Xanthi, the oldest vampire in Vale Sangora, and quite a powerful lady. Let's descend and check what's going on.
Oh, we're just going straight down. Okay, we're gonna stealthily listen. I was like, are we just gonna walk up and say hi? Seems like a bad idea.
Don't think I don't see you skulking in the shadows.
Ooh.
Come out.
Mommy?
Interfering
Oh.
with my task. Who are you?
Not that kind of vampire.
It doesn't matter.
Very well. I don't have time for interruptions. Let us dispose of him. Quickly. You've withstood it. Fascinating.
Cohen is using his claws to attack when in vampire form. Blood guards are dual-wielding opponents. Their attacks are pretty strong. Of course, even when fighting with claws, combat is still directional. Don't worry, Cohen can still use his sword as a vampire.
You haven't lived long.
Dude.
Only after defeating all three of the blood guards, Xanthi deems Cohen worthy of a challenge, and she descends to face him. She uses her blood control powers to cast a multitude of attacks, like her blood whips that hit Cohen from left and right. Xanthi is protected by a powerful vampire ability. Once her stamina runs out, Cohen will have an opportunity to strike and deal some damage. But be careful, cause Xanthi is quick to counterattack and she will also try to restore her blood. Meanwhile, look at the indicator just below her health and stamina. It's a timer for the boiling blood skill that you've seen in the CGI trailer. So, if we don't hurry, the timer goes down to 0 and Cohen will eventually explode. And we're dead.
Oops.
Remember, we were only mid-game here, and Xanthi is one of the game's most punishing enemies. Defeating her right here and right now is very much possible, but it would be hellishly difficult. A fun challenge for hardcore players.
But they let you try if you want.
And we are back, and I hope you enjoyed that as much as
Cast
I did.
upon the blood
now,
squirt.
I have been lucky enough to see this footage quite a few times now, and I feel like I get excited over something different every single time I see it.
And you're going to probably watch it again after this stream, aren't you?
Okay, you know me too well.
Okay, so what's your favorite part so far?
So far, I think the day and night cycle, the fact that the same quest can feel so different if I complete it in the day. I could be walking into the cathedral. No problem, I meet Suspicious Priest Man.
Florin. Yeah.
That's it, Suspicious Priest Man. But by night, I can't walk through the doors. I have to jump through the rafters and, well, Florin is nowhere to be found, but Xanthe and her bodyguards are staring me down. It's just so different.
Yeah, and it is just a small part of it, because we could go back, load the game, and try to explore the cathedral without drawing anyone's attention. We could also try to get to Xanthe when she's not surrounded by the Bloodguards. And just like other vampire allies of Brancis, she also has her own quest line. So we could try to explore that and, you know, find out more about her past, her motivations, and maybe even try reasoning with her.
She does not look reasonable. I'm not gonna lie. She does not look reasonable, but
she does
look scary. So I will do my best to reason with her. That is a great idea. Even within the day and night, the fact that so much can change based on what I do, I think that's really, really fun. It feels like it's going to be so different each time.
Yeah, yeah. With the narrative sandbox, you just weave together all these different stories and create your own unique adventure. So when, how, or if you decide to explore a quest really does matter for you, for your experience, but also for the world and people living there.
Sounds like there's going to be a lot of changes in Vale Sangora, but you mentioned people,
I can change her.
We promised
I
the
can
people,
save her. I can fix her.
That we would answer some of those questions, and I came prepared. So, this first question, I'm going to put you straight on the spot here.
Let's go.
And it comes from, I hope I've pronounced your name right, I'm so sorry if I didn't, Thrassel. And it is the big one, because it talks matters of the heart. Will the Blood of Dawnwalker have any romance mechanics? And if it does, how will they affect the story?
Okay, so this is a very popular question indeed, right? So yes, there will be 3 romance options, and you know, Cohen is young, he's going on an adventure, he'll meet a lot of people there, and it's only natural that he can develop some feelings and bonds with other people, right? Of course, it will be purely optional, and it will affect his story, but on a more personal level.
Okay. I can't wait to see people start shipping Cohen. I'm going to be honest, and I will be rewatching this afterwards to see what you're all saying. So, live chat, I need #Team Brentsis everywhere immediately. Sorry. I need it, and I will accept absolutely no apologies for it. But we want to get through these thick and fast. And our next question here comes from Chris, and very conveniently, it is sort of time related. So, Chris wants to know, how will players differentiate between a quest that will progress the day-night time mechanic and those that won't?
Okay, so this will be always made very clear to you. It will be marked with this small hourglass icon. You could actually see it in the gameplay a moment ago during the dialogue scene with Florin the priest.
Suspicious priest.
The suspicious priest man. Yeah, so if we chose the confession option, the time would actually push forward, and it works the same with quests. So you'll see exactly how much time will pass when you complete any given quest, and even part of that quest. So you can actually make some choices. You can decide on your own, you know, make an informed decision if you want to, of course. And if you just want to explore the world for a while, relax, time will not move at all.
I like that. I was worried initially, would time be something that was constantly over my shoulder, worrying me, ticking away, but it's a resource, right? Not a restriction.
Exactly.
And I think that's so cool, because you can
it's a good
choose
distinction.
to spend it. But if I
like
just
that.
want to explore Vale Sangora, I want to go for a wander and see, I can do exactly
absolutely.
That's how I want the time mechanic to feel. So that's
Imagine failing to
exciting.
feed during night and then killing your romance.
We have got so many more questions.
If that's a thing that
list
could happen,
goes
that'd be
on and
cool.
on, but we promised you more than just that. And I think it's a perfect time to send people over to those wonderful Rebel Wolves devs to give us a little bit more insight.
Yes, and we will meet now with our senior quest designer, Patryk Fiałkowski, and layout artist Zuzanna Suska, who will tell you more about magic. And then our design director, Daniel Sadowski, and senior combat designer, Janek Tyszka, will jump into the topic of traversal and then, of course, combat. Take it away, guys.
Yeah, buddy.
You know what? I'm really glad that it's daytime.
Really? Why?
Well, because I would just freak out in the woods at night.
No kidding.
Right? Just too many creepy stuff in the dark. But I guess it's a good place to talk about magic.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know about you, but I really do believe in magic. But the kind of magic that we have in our game. So, more dark and ritualistic rather than glowing effects and rainbow auras.
Yeah, that's actually what I really like about our approach. That magic feels dangerous, like something you just shouldn't tamper with.
Oh yeah.
It's, I don't know, more organic. It revolves around blood or heat or the way the air pulses and distorts.
I think it ties to the world itself. Some places just feel different. They're connected to magic somehow or have remnants of it. You will feel it when you enter. Like old spell-casting grounds, cursed sites, they all stand out.
We even build specific cues for those spots, subtle signals that something just not quite right. You'll notice things like moths behaving in oddly mysterious ways, unnatural fog, warped light, sometimes even some visual distortions. They are small things, but they will let you know that this isn't just another piece of scenery.
Whatever lens they're using,
Patrick.
I love it.
Ever get that feeling that someone is watching you, even if you're like totally alone?
Well, just one of the many reasons why I don't like woods at night.
Okay. I think this is kind of the feeling we want to go for in our game. So it's not about what you see, it's about what creeps under your skin.
And speaking of skin, Zuza, I think it's worth mentioning that in order to even cast spells, Cohen has to literally carve runes.
Time warp, it's just a jump to the left.
Like a twisted tattoo sleeve, which is insane, but also, not gonna lie, pretty metal.
Carving rune into your own flesh is bold, brutal, and there is no going back.
That wins comment of the day.
You need to know how to do
Okay,
it
Seth,
right.
that wins it.
And this knowledge is scattered around the game world. So, you go explore, you find forgotten spells, and bit by bit you grow stronger.
Yeah, that's right.
Now we're going to show you what it's like to feed on a sheep.
One thing I really love about the magic and the spells is that every single spell can be upgraded. So you're not stuck on level 1 forever. And every time you unlock a new tier, it really feels like you're evolving, not just going through the motions.
And it's not a combat-heavy magic system, right? It's more strategic. Many spells revolve around support, buffs and debuffs.
Yeah, and here comes my next question to you, Patrick.
I'm listening.
Do you have your favorite spell?
Oh, well, there are a few. Rapid Scarring is one. I think it's interesting because it's more of a trade-off.
Oh, yeah.
Cohen's runes beat hard for a moment, and while doing so, Cohen's health replenishes, but at the same time, the maximum HP temporarily drops.
Oh yeah, risk and reward. So makes you think twice before you use it.
Exactly. But, you know, we also have combat spells, like Burning Blood, for example, which I think has a really appropriate name.
Totally. The enemies start screaming in pain right away. Their skin breaks out in blisters, and if they die while it's still active, boom, dealing heavy damage around them. Delightful, really.
And nasty. And useful in crowds. So do you, Zuza, have some favorite spells? Besides Burning Blood, obviously?
Well, I think pheromone.
Ooh, nice.
Because it's really oddly satisfying seeing your enemies under cast of this spell. Their head and neck start rotting, eyes turn white, and they just snap. Start attacking everything around them.
I really dig the way how we show it visually. They're like wild animals.
Yeah, but that's just the beginning. Because we have even non-combat stuff like Compulso. Cohen can literally drag secrets out from the dead.
For me, as a quest designer, this is really an awesome tool to tell stories. It's always optional, but if you use it, you may uncover different quest branches, gain some valuable info, or sometimes even flip the context of an entire plotline.
What's important here, though, is that Cohen is a Dawnwalker, so he can use those magic spells only during the day.
Because then his runes are active, like bloody and raw, but at night they heal because of his vampiric skills. So they become just scars?
I think this is one of the key elements of being a vampire. It's that they just don't use magic. I mean, even if they're powerful creatures, their power comes from a completely different place. I don't know, maybe we can say that it's rooted in their instinct?
Either that, or they absorb it by draining another vampire. So it's really a completely different experience than using magic. And we really want to show what it's like for Cohen to live between those two realities, not just visually, but in how he experiences the world.
Not good. Bad. Dude, you can't fix her. Move on. Move on, dude. Not worth it. Just to know for all you guys, if you're ever dating someone or married to someone and they start whispering in Latin and then their skin starts peeling off into weird runes, leave. Go somewhere else. Or sharpen your sword. Honestly, maybe that is a good preparatory thing. Through the shadows.
You know, I can't believe that already more than 3 years have passed since we started working on the Blood of Dawnwalker.
Quite a journey, wasn't it? Especially since it's a brand new game with a brand new world and, well, brand new characters.
Yeah, we had to figure out everything from scratch. What the game's about, what the world is, who Cohen, our main hero, is, and of course how it all fits together.
Yeah, we really did our best to create the world which feels real. The city, all the villages, it all feels pretty unique.
Yeah, Svartrau, for example, has this urban medieval atmosphere, which we contrast with quiet villages like Laslia, where Cohen is from.
Well, we also have swamps, forests, mountains.
Yeah, so the priest
caves,
actually did
ruins,
know him.
And everything is there for a
They didn't really
reason
touch on
to,
that, but
you know, tell the story.
he's
I
from
even have my
Laslia,
tree.
which the
Yeah,
priest
well, the
asked him
narrative
if he
does
was from
go
there.
deep, doesn't it? And I mean, that wasn't the only thing that was important to us. Every game element had to make sense from a gameplay perspective as well.
Yeah, that's why we had to make exploration both fun and intuitive. So things like well-functioning map is a must-have.
Yeah, and I think that's what's cool about our game is that even from almost the very beginning, the whole world, the whole map is fully accessible to the player.
That's what I love. You can just dive into the world and everything opens up. You can do what you want to do. And there is so much to do and there's so much to discover.
Yeah, and not just the settlements, of course. There are other cool places like shrines, haunted sites, bandit camps.
Hidden monster nests or treasure spots.
Of course, and much more. And I mean, the key is, of course, observation and exploration if you want to uncover these secrets.
Yeah.
But you never have to go too far before stumbling upon something interesting.
Which is actually the main reason we are here today. Cohen needs to reach those points of interest somehow.
Indeed, and since everything in our game is tied to this duality of our main character, both human and vampire sides of Cohen bring unique elements to the game. Even the way you explore changes depending on time.
Yeah, during the day, Cohen
It's at max, fam.
walks, runs,
The volume.
jumps, you know, human stuff.
Yeah, but then the night comes and everything changes.
It's just balanced quiet. I don't know what the deal is.
So, night. That's when Cohen's vampiric side takes over, and he gains access to new vampiric abilities that were previously hidden.
Yeah, when we were first talking about what cool things Cohen could do during the night, we were like, it has to feel like you're in the Matrix, you know? You plug in and suddenly you can do all of those cool things that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. Bend reality to your will.
So, which of those vampiric abilities is your favorite?
I think for me it's Shadow Step. I think it really adds a cool layer to the game. And even in the early prototypes, it was just so fun to, for example, traverse the rooftops using that abilities. I would run on a rooftop, jump into the air, shadow step onto another rooftop. It just made me feel real powerful.
Yeah, it's extremely cool, but you know, for me it's more of a plane shift. The way I can walk on walls or walk upside down on a ceiling, it makes me feel like I'm a hunter sneaking up upon a unsuspecting prey.
Yeah, and let's not forget about Claw Ride, which allows you to quickly scale down walls or mountain cliffs using Cohen's vampire claws. It's also super effective at surprising enemies.
Yeah, there are so many other abilities. One more, actually, allows Cohen to travel super fast through the valley.
Yeah, that's true. It's a cool alternative to the default fast travel option.
Yeah, and that's what's great, all the different things you can do. You can even solely play as a human or as a vampire. It's all up to your preferences.
And that's the beauty of it.
I was
No
gonna
matter the
ask, like,
playstyle
can you do
decide
a
on,
like human
it's all
only
about
playthrough?
immersion and the freedom of choice.
And vampires.
And vampires.
Oh yeah, that's not good. Blades and claws.
Do you remember our first conversations we had about the combat in the Blood of the Walker?
Yeah, I remember we had this very long list of ideas and things we wanted to achieve, didn't we?
Yeah, tricky thing, right? Whenever you think of dark fantasy or vampires, very specific stuff comes to mind. Same goes for medieval, gritty, or grounded.
Yeah, and we wanted to achieve something that felt like real medieval sword fight, where every swing, every block, it carried weight.
Yeah, it had to be challenging for sure, but also accessible and adjustable for difficulty levels. And that also makes perfect sense from the story perspective. You know, Cohen was trained by his father, that's all he knows. He never picked up a bow, never trained with axes. Sword is his domain.
As is yours, actually, right? I mean, your real-life sword fighting experience brought a lot to the project, and the idea to add directionality to our game's combat, well, that was a true game changer.
Totally. We wanted combat to be both immersive and cinematic.
Yeah, and it works. I mean, you feel like you are in the fight. You have to watch the enemy, watch from which direction they attack, block that direction, and then counterattack correctly. You cannot just start button mashing and hope for the best. And when more enemies appear, things get a little bit more interesting, don't they?
Yeah, combat is designed not only for duels, but for one versus many also. So when you are fighting a group, they are smart. They are not just waiting their turn. They swap around, switch positions, flank you, rotate around you, work together to take you down.
And I think that's what I love the most about our game. It doesn't just look cool. The combat is also tactical.
Yeah, we actually took a lot of inspirations from tabletop RPGs and the question, how do you want to do this? And it's pretty funny because at first we thought that complexity of combats could be a little bit too overwhelming for less agile players.
less agile
yeah, but then
players.
iteration after iteration, playtest after playtest, we managed to find a sweet spot.
Yeah, on lower difficulty levels, combat still requires some focus, that's for sure, but enemies are more forgiving and you have more time to react.
That was important to us. We wanted the game to be fun to both more experienced players as well as those who just want to focus more on the story.
Thank you, Koro.
So, the combat at night. As a vampire, Cohen gains access to new options.
Yeah, you can switch to fighting with claws. It's still directional, but it's more instinctive, more savage. And of
Yeah,
course,
Anthony, you
vampires
said it,
can
I was
still
thinking
fight
it.
with swords and mix sword combat with pure vampiric savagery.
We have even more differences between day and night from the combat perspective.
True, as a human, you can lay down your sword and let the fists do the talking.
Good old fist fights, when you
Oh,
wanna
no,
feel
we're
the
frozen.
weight of each
There you go.
punch, whether you're taking it or throwing it.
And during daytime, you have access to magic, which is inaccessible to vampires.
Yeah, as a vampire, however, you gain access to new cool powers, blood-fueled ones.
And speaking of blood, in the blood of Dawnwalker, health is of course tied to this dual day versus night gameplay loop that we have.
Yeah, Kain has standard health bar with no regeneration over time.
But during the night, blood hunger kicks in.
Yeah, his health bar splits into segments, and once he drops into the lowest one, the blood hunger fully kicks in.
Yeah, and that's not just cosmetic. If Cohen is hungry and you're not careful, he may even devour someone he cares about.
Like your romance?
So we have to make sure that it's never vague. Player will get visual and audio cues.
Yeah, and unlike daytime, health regenerates passively at night, but only up to a certain point. Beyond that, if you want to fully recover, you need to feed.
Yeah, if you want to fully regenerate, you need to drink human blood, or animal blood, or even blood vials.
There is also an option to drink vampire blood, but let's just say, interesting things start to happen when you do that.
Superpowers. Wonder if you can do a vampire blood only run.
We shared a lot today, but there's still so much more to look forward to.
Exactly so. And before we wrap up, there's one more thing we have to do.
Musical performance.
Will you do the honors?
I thought he was about to light like that lady, like a maybe it is. No, okay. I thought it was gonna be like burning her at the stake as a vampire or something, and I was like, oh, they're just casually gonna do that. But okay, no, I'm just sick. Then a little musical presentation. So as this plays out, I will say overall, my general philosophy is, you know, show, don't tell. It's just, it's tough to hear a lot of descriptions even for certain gameplay mechanics and not see them. Like they describe the one that like causes, it's almost like a berserk effect on enemies. It's tough to describe that, but not just show it. You know, because I can use my imagination to imagine it, but I'd rather you just show me what that ability is. Or like they mentioned, their alternative to fast travel, but they didn't have gameplay to you know, echo it. That's just frustrating me. I'm like, show it. Is he gonna fight to defend his woman? Guys, you still have time to run. If she starts glowing, it's too late. Fair reaction. Wait, is this his mom and dad? Are we seeing the origin story? And he's the demon? Oh, she did.
Welcome back, everybody. Dominica and I are still here, and we are ready to answer even more of your questions. But first, I have to talk about the combat system. We now know that it's directional combat. But
Oh no, to be clear, that was live action.
the world around Cohen and on his enemies instead of being introverted.
Yeah. So you can immerse yourself in each encounter, observe your enemies, their movements. And what I really like about this as well is that it's very responsive. So you can quickly change your mind and pick a different attack.
Oh, that was Unreal Engine 6.
Or block, or use a skill instead.
I've been lucky enough to play around with it a little bit, and one of the things I really enjoyed about flipping the directional combat, I didn't feel like I needed to spend 6 hours working out how to do it, only to then struggle. It felt so intuitive and so quick to learn, but really enjoyable. It was fast, it was frantic, but it just made each fight worth being in. It was so epic. It was so much fun.
Yeah. We took our time to polish it and just make it, fun and just feel great to play.
Well, it felt it when I got my hands on it, I won't lie. And speaking of well-polished, speaking of epic, that new song as well.
It is a great song, isn't it? It was composed by our in-house composer, Nikola Kołodziejczyk, who is, of course, joined by a team of super talented musicians. And you could actually see him in the video playing this weird instrument called hurdy-gurdy.
Hurdy-gurdy!
Okay. We're going to move on as fast as possible.
There's no way that's real.
I have to say hurdy-gurdy more than once.
I'm Googling it.
Hurdy-gurdy. Back to the questions we go. I am still prepared.
Dude, it is real.
Dominica comes from Professor CGK. Now, this is a really interesting question. We've seen that obviously there's so many decisions in The Blood of Dawnwalker, but will some of those decisions make you more or less vampire?
I'm guessing drinking
This is such a
vampire
great
blood
question.
will.
And there's so many layers to it because, so first we have the skill tree.
It's that
of course,
guitar
right?
thing
So
with the
you'll
crank.
enhance your abilities, and that will make you, of course, more and more of a vampire. Then we have the blood drinking. You can choose to drink human blood, you can choose to drink animal blood. And I would say that choosing human blood, will make you a bit more of a vampire, get you more to the vampire side, especially that you can also drain blood of some important NPCs. Next, you can skip time and try to play only at night, fully embracing your vampiric side.
That's interesting.
And there's, of course,
Skip time
the
to
narrative
only
layer.
play at
So
night or
all
day.
the different stories and quests and decisions you have to make, and how you will personally feel about them, but also what kind of consequences they might bring.
Okay, so Professor CGK, the answer was yes, 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 and yes.
And yes.
Fantastic. Okay, love to see it. Amazing. Next question. We're going to go through as many as we can, and it comes from someone who's actually quite active in our community Discord. It comes from Biggie. So thank you for this question, Biggie. They want to know, is there an alignment or a reputation system with the main factions? So the humans, the vampires, or will things change on more an individual basis?
Okay, so there are two sides to this question as well. And we have this global notoriety system. So basically, the more visible action you take against Brancis, the more reputation or notoriety you will gain. And Brancis will take notice, and he will try to make your life more difficult, issuing all these different edicts. And they will affect you, but they will also affect the world and other people. And yeah, but it might also open up some new possibilities for you, you know, at the same time. I'm sure that enemies of the Brancis regime will appreciate your infamy here.
That makes sense. I mean, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So that does make sense.
So it's a global
That's
system,
on the
not
broader
faction
side, but
specific.
as you've mentioned before, each individual NPC will kind of have an impact too, right?
Yeah, that's the other side. So it's not strictly reputation.
Thank you, Long
but
Shot
again,
Lazarus,
your
by the way. Thank
decisions
you.
will
Very
matter.
generous.
So depending on them, some people might be more or less inclined to work with you or just to help you out.
Okay, well, it feels like there's going to be an impactful decision at pretty much every single corner. Next question. We are getting through them as thick and as fast as we can. Now, previously we'd mentioned that the Blood of Dawnwalker will have no microtransactions, which I am very much a fan of. We have a couple of questions that I'm going to kind of merge together from Solandis and Kaido. They've asked whether the Blood of Dawnwalker is going to have any sort of early access or demo, maybe tied to some sort of digital deluxe or something like that.
We're not planning any early access or demos. We want to focus on delivering a great experience for you guys at launch. And what I can also say is that we are not going to have any kind of in-game digital perks connected to pre-orders or other paywalls because we just want to treat everyone the same.
I mean, that seems reasonable. You shouldn't be
How
punished for
dare
finding
you.
Blood of Dawnwalker late, right? We have the first stream up on the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
maybe
but
you
what
find us in
about the
third
XP
one.
boost?
But I like that.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I think that's fair. I think it's nice to deliver the game as intended to all the players on the launch day.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay. Now, this next question comes from, if I counted all of the names that have asked basically this question, we would be here until the full Wolf Moon. It is related to languages. Dominica, which languages will the Blood of Dawnwalker launch supporting?
Okay, so there is a lot. So I have a cheat sheet prepared here so I can read them all to you and not miss anything. So yes, so first of all, we'll have full localization, meaning like a full VO, subtitles, UI elements, everything basically in English, French, Italian, German, Spanish, and Polish. And then we are going to have the text localization, meaning subtitles and UI elements in Brazilian Portuguese, Mexican Spanish, Korean, traditional Chinese, simplified Chinese, Japanese, Turkish, Czech, and Hungarian.
Fantastic. That is a lot. The cheat sheet was smart.
Yeah.
That was smart. Now, that is a lot of languages, but we know that it's a deeply personal experience when you're playing a game, so I'll ask the greedy question. Is there any possibility of supporting other languages in future?
We know that localization is super important to experience a game properly, and we're doing our best to have as many options as we can. And we will be looking into more. However, we cannot promise anything at this moment, so you know it might be not possible to have any other localization options for the launch or even later. We'll see. We'll let you know if anything changes.
Makes sense.
It's a
Deliver
lot.
what we're promising,
Seems like a lot.
rather than promise and not get there.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. But much like Cohen, we are starting to run out of time. But we still have so many questions. So I know you're going to be answering even more
about
questions
American?
in Discord after the stream, right?
Yes, I do want to answer as many of your questions as we can without spoiling anything, of course. So head over to our Discord server if you want to learn more about the Blood of Dawnwalker. And I will be joining you guys in a few moments. Just need a short break first. Live streams are stressful, you guys, honestly. And yeah, but hey, no fire alarm today.
No fire alarm yet, okay? The studio is haunted. That painting has an infamy. I'm sure of it, but...
That's true.
But we don't just have Discord, of course, though you should be there. There are so many social that you can use to keep up to date with the Blood of Dawnwalker and all of the news coming out over the next year or so.
Yes, and you should have them all popping
Next
up on the
year
screen
or
right
so.
about now. And remember, the game is releasing in 2026, and you can wishlist it already on Steam, PlayStation Store, and Xbox Store.
Okay.
You can indeed. That's where you should go right after the Discord Q&A.
Yeah.
But that is it from us. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you here, Dominica.
So overall, what did you guys think? They're wrapping up. Overall, what did you think? I think a lot of what they showed was really promising. I like it. For being an alpha, it's looking pretty good because they still have probably a year plus to polish. So I think overall it's looking good. I like the idea of a lot of things that they're doing gameplay wise. And you know, anything we can nitpick, like the combat animations weren't super tight. Like, yeah, it's going to polish up. In a year when we're like a few months out from launch, if it still looks like that, then I think it's fair to maybe express some concern. But being so early, stuff gets tightened up and improved significantly. Overall, I think a lot of it looked quite promising. I also love that they're even balancing and building it out in a way where they're open to, like, you know, full night runs. So if you want to play through the entire game just at night, you can do that, they're saying. If you want to play through the whole game just in the daytime and ignore the vampire stuff, you can do that. That's crazy to me. But I mean, if they actually are able to deliver on that, that's really exciting. As for like the complexity of some of the missions and some of the stuff they're doing, I mean, it's incredibly ambitious. It's very ambitious. I'm not sure if I totally like believe it yet, you know? I'm not sure. Just because to have totally different routes for every quest, for side quests, for all of that to change based on how like corrupted by the vampiricism you are. I don't know. It's just very, very, very ambitious, but it excites me, and it's something that's interesting at the very least. So I'm intrigued. You know, there are 100 devs. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's a smaller team for sure, but I think if you keep your expectations about, like, you know, it's probably going to be a pretty solid AA experience. I think it could be really intriguing. Some of the stuff they showed, you know, with combat, some of the stuff they showed in terms of just the overall scale, it again gave me strong vampire vibes, especially like the claw gameplay and some of the like dodging animations and stuff, and some of the UI. It did remind me a lot of Vampire, which is not a bad thing. I really like Vampire, but Vampire was very clunky, and it was very, it was good. It just was a clunky kind of AA game that had some cool ideas, but just didn't have a ridiculously crazy high number of players or anything, you know, to mess with. But overall, I mean, I think that it did what it needed to do. It showed more and was exciting, and I'm interested to see where it ends up. You know, Vampire was good, but it could have been better. Well, and it had some cool basic ideas tied to the vampire side of gameplay and the gameplay loop, but where it started to falter was just overall like scale and production budget, and also technically it didn't run great and had kind of hard gated load screens splintered around. But I think this looks pretty intriguing. I'm excited to see more. Definitely something to keep an eye on. And, you know, if they keep polishing and making tons of progress, it could end up being a really exciting game for next year. Just something that could pop off and do really well. So we'll see. We'll see. I do get the vibe, though, that I think it's going to be pretty lean, and I think there will be a lot of variability within like quest design and stuff. But I'm also kind of bracing for it to be shorter and smaller than we may think. Don't expect something on the scale of The Witcher 3. I'm thinking something on the scale of like Vampire, which is fine. It's fine. But I think, you know, we joke that it looks like, you know, Witcher mixed with Vampire, but I think it may be more Vampire mixed with Witcher, if you get my drift. Like, I just think it's going to be tighter, it's going to be smaller, the map's going to be smaller, less POIs, which is okay, but just don't go into it with the wrong expectations, thinking it's going to be like The Witcher 3, but with vampire stuff, you know? No release date because 2026 is a minefield. Exactly. I don't blame them for being cautious, because there's going to be a lot of big AAA stuff next year, like a lot. So just be ready, you know. Yeah. Was Vampire a re-release from an older generation that was released on last generations, or was it a brand new title then? It was brand new, but it launched on PS4. I think it's like 2017, 2018 maybe. Yeah, June 5th, 2018. And it landed like 7 out of 10. You know, it landed in the like C range, which is probably fair, especially for launch. But if we go down and we see some of those mixed ones, you also get your fair share of limited exploration as well as all you can loot mentality. That's more constricting than helpful. Vampire is very ambitious, presents a lot of cool and interesting ideas, but it just doesn't quite hit its mark. Compelling macabre adventure let down by so-so combat. Despite a strikingly different premise, from Life is Strange, Studio Don't Nod, the team's expertise in characterization and world building dovetail neatly into this vampire romp. Yeah, the combat just wasn't great, and you know it was fine. But it had some really cool and clever ideas. It just didn't really nail the execution of all of it, which is, again, it's fine. It's fine. It was still a good game, one you should check out. Anyway. So yeah, they made Life is Strange. Yeah. Let's see. Ezekiel, I'm sorry, I'm not sure which fetch quest you're referring to. Let's see. And 8 out of 10. Well, the thing is, like, I really like a lot of what they showed, and being still a year plus out, I think it's in a really good spot. I think it's in a good spot. Red Fajita, thank you for the 24 months. Oh, geez, dude, 2 years? That's insane. Thank you for that. Wow, that's wild. Love watching what you do. In 2 years, you have a second kid, and I'm in grad school. Time flies and hits a glass window when you think about it. Yeah, dude, for real. For real, 2 years. Absolute madness. Absolute madness. Well, thank you. Thank you, my friend. Glad you're still here. Glad you're rocking. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, I suppose. Let's see. Yeah, and then it looks like they're starting to do the Borderlands event as well. So people are playing and trying Borderlands 4 for the first time and checking it out, which is pretty cool. Pretty Gucci. People are actually going to try it. You're going to get a lot more impressions, because it seems like the preview that I did and that I went to was very like pretty tight, pretty narrow. There weren't a ton of people, but it seems like a lot more people are going to get their hands on it today. So you'll hear a lot more impressions, which will be good. Is Life is Strange worth playing for the narrative? I think so. It's weird. It's a weird game. There's nothing quite like it, but I think so. It's a good game to play. Like, I played it with my now wife. She was my girlfriend at the time, and we just kind of passed the controller back and forth. But I enjoyed it. It's a good one. Especially you can get it on sale pretty regularly. Let's see. I think of this game as the new studios, which are one ambitious game, but still trying to figure out their strengths. Well, yeah. And I mean, I think he said they've only been working on it for like 3 years or something. So it's going to evolve. It's going to change. It's going to shift, and you know, it's going to do well, I think. But it is like laying the foundation, and then if this goes well, they get more publisher interest, they get some money, they can expand to the second game that's even bigger and better. And that's why you just have to remember it's the give and take with having a lot of developers who worked on The Witcher 3, because people will naturally be like, oh, so it's like Witcher 3 mixed with like vampire stuff. And that's fine. That's good. It can help you get attention up front, but it can also raise the expectations, you know, that people have. So I just think it's going to be interesting to watch, but I think it'll do well. Yeah. Like Mind's Eye. But this game was designed as a game, not as a side spin-off project within a different game that's supposed to be like Fortnite and as a platform for other games. Yeah, this one is an actual video game. So that will help. Yeah. Yeah, or sorry, crypto. Yeah, it's all about crypto. All about the crypto. Yeah, not Mind's Eye slander. Dude, there were some people that were so freaking triggered about Mind's Eye. I don't know where they found it, but like they happened to find a collection of people that just were the most diehard fans you could imagine and willing to like fight to the death to defend that. It was pretty insane. Especially because the game did not look good. So it's like, why, how did you guys find such insane fans willing to defend you at every single step? Like it's just wild, absolutely wild. But that's you know, it happens with everything. No matter how bad a game is, there will always be somebody that loves it more than life itself, which is, you know, remarkable. But still, it'll be 10 out of 10 in a few years. Yeah, just give him a chance. Give him a chance, dude. Okay, let me. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier on the stream, little Lachlan James has his birthday party. He's going to his buddy's, like, I think 4th birthday party. It's pretty adorable. It's really cute. So I've got to go watch Mr. Orion while he goes to his birthday party with Mom. It's going to be very cute. I can't wait. Don't worry, Arik. Thank you for the 100 bits. I still have it in my Discord. The nice thing is that is a timeless video. So when we get to it, we get to it and we can go through it. But yeah, I'm not too worried about it because we're going to have time and it's not something that we have to rush, you know? It should be good. Okay. Okay. And we're there. And then also Orc, thank you over on Twitch. Thank you for the sub. Thank you. Thank you. 11 months. Ooh. Almost there, my friend. Almost to a year. Can't wait. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me. You guys are amazing. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for super chats, membership, subs. All of you guys are amazing. We'll be back on Monday with another stream. So have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we'll be back soon enough. Okay. Much love, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in just a couple days. Much love. Until next time. Bye-bye.